Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the 2024 Smart CEO Summit. We are excited that you are here. Welcome to every single platform that is tuning in to the Smart CEO Summit. We're excited to have you. We are literally virtually live across every single platform that would have us today. We're thrilled to see you. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, as well as in our private Facebook group and YouTube. I am excited to have you here. Welcome to the Smart CEO 2024 Summit. All right, I am Kyra Rennell. I am the founder of the Smart CEOs. I am also the chief strategist, I should say, of the Kyra Company. And look at this line up. The Smart CEOs back in 2017 came on the scene, and we had no clue just how big this opportunity would be for business owners, for those that are leading and growing their businesses all over the nation. And what we found is that this is a space where we do big business. So smart CEOs come together and have done so in a variety of different ways across our platforms, whether it was Breakfast with the Smart CEOs, through our roundtables, our podcast, which is the Smart Talk podcast. We're excited about that and excited to share information and have you meet CEOs that are doing things in such a unique way across the world. But not only that, this summit, we have been working hard to bring you the best of the best, and today is no different. So look at this lineup. We've got some amazing leaders. You're going to meet absolutely every one of them. There is wealth in every conversation the smart CEOs have. And today we are going to make a huge deposit into your ecosystem, into your community, into your knowledge bank. So get ready, smart CEOs. A couple of housekeeping items. Make sure you have a pen. Make sure you have a notebook. Make sure you have a backup device just in case you lose power, because we want to make sure you know exactly what to capture today. Don't miss a drop of what's going to be delivered to you. So if you're on right now, you're joining us now, you're joining us after the fact, and you're catching a replay, there will be a replay available to you. I want you to know, smart CEOs, I cannot wait to share today with you. All right, let's get into it. So before we dig all the way in to the meat of the day, I am excited to introduce to you caregiver coach Pat Bailey. Pat Bailey is a phenomenal leader. And she is going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on, because guess what? Smart CEOs Breakfast with the Smart CEOs will be June to share with us. And we're going to talk about why it's so important to hear the message that Pat has for us. So let me tell you a little bit about caregiver coach Pat Bailey. Affectionately known as Miss Pat, is a devoted and compassionate professional with a diverse skill set, a deep spiritual commitment, and an unwavering passion for enhancing the lives of others. Ms. Pat's life serves as a testament to the power of faith and the impact of caregiving. Formerly the vice president of marketing for hair care giant Proline Corporation. Her journey as an ordained minister, caregiver coach, certified belief therapist, and dementia care practitioner reflects her profound commitment to making a positive difference in the lives of those she serves, both spiritually and practically. As a caregiver for her dad at 21 and her mom at 45, in caregiver coach Pat, we find a kind-hearted soul dedicated to providing comfort, support, and healing to those in need. This includes her role as the marketing, advertising, and outreach agency of record for the University of North Texas Health Science Center of Fort Worth, and their health and aging brain study, health disparities Alzheimer's research study, funded by a $150 million federal grant from the National Institute of Aging. Now, let me go back over that. The University of Texas, North Texas Health Science Center at Fort Worth, and their health and aging brain study. Their health and aging brain study is one of the largest funded health and brain studies nationally, and is focused specifically on the health disparities of Alzheimer's research. Understand that what happens inside our head is a big, big deal. And how do we get into a position where we have great brain health along the journey? Pat's going to talk about that. But outside of those professional roles, Pat's a loving mother to one son and a daughter-in-law, and is cherished as Gigi by her son. Pat finds solace in divinity as a divinity student and student of biblical history, enriching her understanding of faith. So she also enjoys relaxing through a round of golf, immersing herself in a timeless melodies of old school music, and seeking inspiration through the pages of the books she reads. Now, let's meet Pat Bailey, caregiver coach. Pat, we cannot wait to hear what you have to say and what you're going to be doing here in Houston in June. Welcome to the
Welcome
stage,
to
Pat.
me. Hello to you. Much joy. Chief Strategist Kyra, it's going to be amazing in June. It is. Let me tell you. So excited.
It's going to be amazing. Listen, Pat, I'm going to say this. Business owners, I know I've had thousands of conversations with business owners, and I'm going to tell you the thing that is the theme no matter what. Too busy, focused, running at full throttle, tired, exhausted, and trying to keep things straight in our head. You know, a lot of our challenges are flaring up as anxiety and anxious, thinking around what we're doing. And one of the things I wanted to really ask you, Pat, is as you think about the work that you're doing in your role with the University of North Texas Health Science Center at Fort Worth, tell us how the work you're doing becomes a catalyst or support system for smart CEOs. Why is this an important conversation for us to be in?
You know, in that, I love to encourage all those that are listening to my voice that there's a great probability we're talking to caregivers right now. You are either going to be a caregiver or you're going to be
Yeah.
cared for. So that means that if for those that are not in the role of caregiving right now, you are actually beginning to go on stage and to become one. And my job, both in serving with the university, with the Healthy and Aging Brain Study, in concert with that, Finding New Tomorrows, which is a nonprofit and the platform in which I help counsel, I help coach, I help train. Basically, the job is to help our families learn how to age well together. Because keep in mind that as a senior level executive, and my mom having Alzheimer's, which she succumbed to after 7 years, how was I able to manage the traveling of 52 trips a year and ensuring that not just me, but more importantly, my mom and my siblings could actually have a moment of dignity through this process. So I want to then center in on the opportunity to have this discussion because the overarching theme and messaging that we want to bring for the June 13th event is while you're at work, how are you prepared to care for a loved one with dementia? Because keep in mind, you've got 1 in 2 Black families impacted by Alzheimer's disease. You have over 6.7 million people who are suffering from the disease right now. Just FYI, it's 2/3 women. It is 2/3 women, which is quite impactful. And we want to talk about that also. We want to begin to understand and unwrap and map all of the areas that can lead to dementia and what you can do to become sustainable in the process. So it's not just you being prepared for your parent, Kyra. We got to be prepared for ourselves. We have to learn to put our mask on first. If we're going to be
Yeah.
leaders and the CEOs for
That's
these
right,
corps,
Pat.
we need to be a leader in this process and with our family so we can get through this. So super encouraged, looking forward to it significantly. And we're going to actually have an opportunity to talk
That's a
about
big deal. And
it's a very, very big deal. It's a very big deal. And we'll be able to
yeah,
talk about
yeah.
all of the steps along the way. The caregiver wheel is an example. What is that, right?
I can't wait for you to give us the tools, Pat. I think I'm in that space. I've actually experienced the loss of one of my parents already. And what I do know is that it is an essential conversation for us to have, and is an essential conversation for us to be aware of. And there are some essential actions for us to take. So, Pat, I cannot wait for us to make this huge deposit in the Smart CEO community. on June 13th. I think it's going to be a phenomenal conversation for us. And we know breakfast time for us to do the work. We show up for breakfast with the smart CEOs. And so that's where we're going to come to really get this from you. Can't wait to meet you. I can't wait for them to experience your amazing energy and learn from you. You are a wealth of incredible knowledge, Pat. Thank you so much for joining us on the Smart CEO Summit today and for sharing just a little bit to get us ready for what's coming in June. Thank you, Pat.
Absolutely. God bless you guys. See you in June. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Teeing up already. And not only is June teeing up, but we are getting, I think, what we need in terms of such incredible knowledge around our mindsets and our ability to take care of our minds as we grow. So for all of the challenges that we're experiencing as business owners, and the growth that we're experiencing as business owners, we got to process it, and we need strong, healthy brains, vital to our success. You know, the entire process has to be cared for. So I want us to be thoughtful about it and get ready for what's coming. All right, so here's what's next. Let me give you a couple of things. So if you are in the chat, you will start to see some links drop into the chat that will provide you with the insight you need to click and connect with our speakers. And not only that, there will be a form dropped in the chat, a link. We want you to fill it out. If you fill it out, you'll have access to the entire Smart CEO engagement kit that's going to be dropped in your inbox. That is the swag bag for today. So that is going to be huge for you. So you want to make sure you have the ability to get access to that, and you gain access by dropping it in the chat. So clicking the link in the chat. So make sure that you are clicking the links and make sure that you are connecting to the Smart CEO community, and make sure that you are following along the journey. And I see the chat is starting to light up. Thank you, everyone. Keep dropping those comments in. I'm going to be paying attention to the chat while we're going through. But we are going to really get right into it. You know, smart CEOs, there's wealth in every conversation, and the wealth that we know that we build together has everything to do with our ability to collaborate. So collaboration accelerates your growth. It increases your capacity as a leader. And so the one thing we want you to have, no matter what, is the strength of a partnership. And that comes through building up a strong ecosystem. So today, you're going to basically be privileged to a conversation that I'm going to have with with one of my favorite bankers, which is Brandon Morris. And let me tell you a little bit about Brandon. Brandon Morris is a highly accomplished professional with a multifaceted career spanning banking, business management, finance, and community leadership. Currently serving as a vice president and senior business consultant for business banking at JP Morgan Chase, Brandon brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the finance industry. Brandon's career journey includes time spent in oil and gas, community engagement, and the fine arts industry. With a solid academic foundation, Brandon holds a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from Southern University and an MBA in Marketing from the University of Phoenix. Brandon has been empowering budding entrepreneurs with his knowledge and guidance in arenas like the Houston Area Urban League Entrepreneurship Center as a facilitator, and through HCC's Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, where he was also appointed to our former Mayor Sylvester Turner's transition team for economic opportunity during the mayor's first term, contributing to shaping the city's economic future. Brandon also served on the MBE Input Committee for the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council and on the Business Development Committee for the East End Chamber of Commerce. Brandon is putting in incredible work in the city of Houston and the surrounding areas. Brandon enjoys golf, cooking, and traveling with his wife, Marla, who will be soon celebrating 10 years of marriage. Congratulations, Brandon, on that. He and Marla attend Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church on Sunday mornings, and then they celebrate the New Orleans Saints victories on most Sunday afternoons. For all you Saints fans, Brandon is on the team. Brandon's career journey is a testament to his dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to both the financial industry and the greater Houston community. His diverse skill set and leadership experience continues to drive positive change and foster growth in the business and organizations that he serves. Brandon, welcome. Let's have this conversation.
Hey, Kyra, thanks for having me. I don't know
Welcome
who
to
wrote
the
all of those flattering things on that bio, but thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
oh, thank you for doing the good work. Like, thank you for doing the good work. That's, Brandon, when we think about collaboration and ecosystem, if you don't have anything to bring to the party, what good is it for us to connect, right? So if you're bringing your ecosystem and I'm bringing my ecosystem, I call that a party. What do you think?
Very true. Very true. I can't wait to get into the discussion we have today. I know it's going to be, it's really exciting because, when we talk about connecting with our business owners, I typically will echo some words I heard from a man I really respect. He talks about the three forms of capital that you need to have. Okay, so we all know that you need the monetary capital. You have to have money to invest in your business. You have to utilize the resources that you have to, get an ROI on everything you're putting in. But then you also have your intellectual capital. And that's like, what we're doing today. This is you and I talking. This is all of your invited guests, Dr. Pat Bailey and all of the guests you have coming up, really giving some insight into different things that you can utilize as a business owner, as a smart CEO to help to grow and maintain your business. But then when it comes to that collaboration piece, you have that last form of capital, which is your social capital. Okay, it is so important that not only you know the right people, but the right people know you, and you form this tribe that we're going to talk about that will really help you grow and manage your business.
Brandon, you hit that. I'll say, I'm going to go back to that last statement you made. It's not about who you know, do the right people know you as well. And that, we see it all across social media, I'm sure all the time, where people are dropping, memes or whatnot and comment about, the power of their connection, the power of their collaborative, network and whatnot, and knowing who they know, right? We see us taking amazing photos and capturing moments with people and saying, oh, I was here with this person at the same time. I actually had this thought because I had an opportunity to attend a high school all-star basketball game a couple days ago, and I'm in the room and my seats are pretty good, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing celebrities and athletes and folks, and I'm like, I'm in the room with them now. And I said this, I literally have proximity and I can go take a selfie with any of them, if not all at one time. I mean, across the evening. What good would that do me? And that was the
Right.
thought I had, right? I'm watching them come in. I'm like, oh, that's so and so. I'm sending screenshots to my son. Who is this, And
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, what good would it do me to take a photo with someone that doesn't know me, though? Doesn't know me.
Right.
And so that's where I paused. Brandon. I was like, I could do it, but they don't have a relationship. So I would post that I was here, they were here. We had a good idea. We all went to the same place at the same time. But I think one of the things that's going to give us this amazing capital that we need, this social capital that we need, is to understand who we actually need on our journey. I'm not saying I don't need those folks that I saw. What I am saying is it worth the equity or the time that I'm going to spend to go chase them down to get the selfie, or should I just enjoy this moment with my son where I'm investing, right? And I was like, I'm going to enjoy this
Right.
moment, and we're going to just spot these folks out and say, right place, right time. That's what we're going to say. Yeah. What are your
Definitely.
thoughts about that?
It's
Like
this.
really understanding who you need.
Oh, well, so what I was going to say is that's, a form of social currency when you get those likes and everything on social media. However, are you truly monetizing it? Because do you have the platform and the infrastructure set up for it to be monetized for you? Or is it just a feel good thing? Um, you have to really think about your brand and,
Mhm.
when it comes to your social capital, if you're not leveraging it the correct way, then it's really not worth investing in. You see what I'm saying? One of the things that you and I often
Mhm.
talk about are the right organizations to be a part of and join, and not just join and be a part of, but also be active in these organizations. Attend meetings, go to the networking events, and when you're going, be intentional about your networking. It's not about just handing out as many business cards as possible. It's about targeting the right people so that you can start to create meaningful relationships with people that not only can benefit you, but you can be a benefit to them.
Mhm. Well, you know what, Brandon, we'll start with that. So, in order to do that, you need to know where you're going, right? So, as business owners, as leaders in organizations, I remember transitioning into healthcare from automotive. One of the first thoughts I had was I have to start in a position where I can actually start building like relationships along the way, because I need people to help me get things done. Number one. Number two, I have a huge learning curve going from one industry to the next. And so the first thing I thought of before I was ever a full on entrepreneur was, who do I need to know in this new organization that can help me kind of move swiftly through my learning curve, help me make better decisions, gain access so that I could actually grow, learn and grow pretty quickly. So immediately that was my thought, 20, almost, well, shoot, almost 20 some years ago. That was
Mhm.
my thought. I didn't know the power of collaboration. I just knew I didn't know enough to get it done by myself, which meant I needed to slow down and think about what I needed and where I was going. How does that show up now, Brandon, as you're talking to all kinds of business owners and all kinds of industries? Are you finding that people know where they're going so that they can really talk about what kind of assets and resources they need as they build their ecosystem?
Um, in some cases, yes. But oftentimes, I find that people start their businesses and they've grown their businesses and they're starting to gain some success. And they're now behind the curve and trying to catch up and keep up with that success because they have to hire quickly. And, you know, for those, listening today, we all know that one of the toughest things to do, or one of the hardest things to find, is good help. Okay. That's not something that you want to be behind the eight ball on, right? Um, so you should definitely start creating those relationships and those circumstances early on, even if you don't bring someone on as a full-time employee. But there are creative ways that you can collaborate with people where everyone could win. That's not going to break your pockets in the very beginning. The first thing is you have to identify a common goal and a common objective that both are motivated to get to. Um, you know, Money is only one motivator, but it's not the entirety of everything. It shouldn't be. You have to look at, the opportunity, the experience that someone can get in working with you and collaborating with you. Um, but you need to start forming those relationships early and often, so that as time goes on and as you start to grow, then you have people who have been walking with you, down this path of the growth of your company, and it's easier to elevate them or give them more responsibility or empower them more with more finances, the whole nine yards, and you've already built that trust. So collaboration is a great way to do that. In fact, I I definitely appreciate your story coming from Detroit and the automotive industry. When I first started my consulting firm about 12 years ago or so, we did a lot of collaboration with other, freelance consultants. And that was how I was able to bring people on in a more permanent position of part ownership and really full-time attention, because we collaborated on projects, randomly, and then we just built a trust with each other. We built a kinship. We saw how each other works. We see how each of us think. And so it was easier to say, over time, hey, you ever think about just coming on board full time? Let's talk about what that could look like. And then it was a seamless transition. So I don't think enough business owners, enough CEOs are doing that. There are far too many solopreneurs out there. And if you really truly want real sustainable growth, it's going to take a collaborative effort with more people.
Yeah, you nailed it, Brandon. Understanding that sustainability is like, it's layers, right? So as you're thinking about how these layers present themselves in your business, Brandon, you painted such a great picture. So if I want to grow, let me be in my old days, they would say always be selling, right? Always be selling, always be recruiting. And so let me make sure that I'm in a position where I'm always thinking about the next challenge. And I'm going to go here at my strategy as a strategist and say, if you're not thinking about your strategic plan, then it's going to be hard for you to kind of have a list of things you need to do, right? So your strategic plan should be leading you forward. That should be your guide. As your strategic plan is leading you forward, your job then is to say, how do I support my strategic plan? What resources do I need? Now we can go back to those 4 C's of capital. We can start thinking about what assets we need to build. And that to me becomes your catalyst. But a lot of times we have it in our heads. We just talked about this, have it in our heads, which is why our minds are so cloudy. We don't put it on paper. But if we took the time to put it on paper and delineate people, process, our profitability model, then we could then create the strategy that takes us on the journey that shows us, oh, Kyra, you need a banking consultant to help you think through your complex business decisions. Raise my hand. Hey, JP Morgan Chase, I need someone to help me. Okay, perfect. We've got a solution for that. But if I don't have a plan, there's nothing for us to talk about, because you don't want to hear my aspirations. You want to know what I'm doing and how I'm going to get it done. So you can actually then say, this is what I have in terms of my knowledge bank, Kyra. Let me give you this guidance. And then I say, okay, thank you for the guidance. Now, here's some support for the guidance. Here is a strategy. Here are some resources. Here are some folks to connect with. Here's a have access to those things. The goal for us at that point is to leverage them, right? Right. So if I'm going to be a value add partner in our collaboration, then I'm going to contribute just as much as my partner is in the process, right? So Brandon, for the business, we're thinking about what else I need to stand it up. This is not just about money. This is about ideas, right? That thought partnership, that intellectual capital, access to insight and information on programs. But then it's also saying, you know what, Kyra, I hear what you're saying. How feasible is that in the next 6 months, right? How feasible is that? So that's someone to really challenge your trajectory and where you say you're going. That builds your capacity as a business owner. I just want to really double down on that, and really think about how that shows up. So Brandon, one of the things that we know for a fact, right? In order to go ahead, Brandon, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. You were cooking. I wanted to kind of go a little bit deeper and elaborate on the importance of having that collaboration and that team around you, because what that does is that outside perspective allows you to play a devil's advocate and allows more creative outcomes when you can bounce things off of people, right? What does your team look like? You should definitely have an attorney. And when I say have an attorney, based on where you are in your business, I understand you may not be able to afford to keep an attorney on retainer per se, but you should know an attorney. And for when you need one, then they can either help you directly or refer you to one. Someone else on your team you should have as a CPA or an accountant, some type of tax professional, because there's strategy in this. When you're building your business, you're looking at the finances. The finances are truly just ridiculously important, right? You have to make sure those numbers are right. And it helps to have a professional who looks at numbers all day, every day to kind of help walk you through that. You should not be scared of looking at your numbers, of knowing your numbers as a business owner, as a CEO. And then some of you, a lot of you, have business coaches. That's great. It's again, that's another professional on your team that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can, gain some insight from, have really good, intelligent conversations about where you're going with your business, where you are just, spiritually and emotionally, because we're still human and humans run businesses. So you have to be in the right mindset. And, sometimes we're not all there. Those are all great members of the team. But you can't forget your banker. Why, when it takes money to make money, why would you not have a relationship with a banker? That's the money. Let me tell you something. And look, if you got to kick me off my soapbox, please, because I can go all day on this one. But
Take
when
full
when
advantage.
when you talk about someone who can help position you for more finances and more structure, so you talk to someone. Just because you're talking to your banker, it doesn't mean they're going to just shove a bunch of products down your throat, but just have a general conversation with them and let them know where you are with your business, what your intentions are, what you're looking to achieve over the next few months or a couple of years. And they can give you some really valuable guidance in how to approach your CPA or your accountant on getting you straight with your taxes. They can give you some valuable insight on, that you can talk to your business coach or your attorney about. And then and that's all of that goes into you creating a sound infrastructure and strategy to build and grow your business. Look, obviously, you know what bank I work for, so I'm going to obviously champion that bank. But whatever bank you're with, if you do not have a some type of relationship with a banker who you're talking to, I don't care if your credit is trash, you're going to have Monty on a little bit later on to talk about how to, work through your credit issues and things of that nature. And that's great. But I don't care if your credit is trash. You still need to go in and talk to a banker. How do you know? How do you know what that particular bank needs to get you financing, unless you go and talk to them? Don't assume. Don't just assume, yeah, my credit's not a this, that, and the third, so I can't even go in there and talk to them. Go talk. How do you know unless they tell you, right? Have a relationship with your banker. So it's a really crucial, critical part of the team that people need to start embracing. Okay. If you need help with that, you can always reach out and I can help you with that. But uh, we should not be intimidated by our banks. That's ridiculous at this point in your business career.
Yeah, I would agree. And as smart CEOs, one of the reasons why this platform is so important, and to have wealth in every conversation is to really bring it home. I was one of those business owners. I was scared to like let somebody behind the veil to see what's going on in the business. But my accountant was the first person that really, and I'll share the story. My accountant came on board right after I went through a life event. And so my life event was really devastating and it hit all domains in terms of my business, my finances, my credit, everything. And life events can do that. And so the life event happened, and I brought my accountant on the next year, and I said, listen, I can't do this without a team. I said, I've got to start here with you because I'm rebuilding. Here's what this looks like. And I said, if you can walk with me right now, then we're going to be able to run as we move forward, because I need you to help me with my financial strategy around what the forecast looks like, all of that. And she we were on a Zoom, and she's, straight looked me straight in the eye, and she said, let's go. And so now 5 years later, I can tell you, as a part of their team, there's a CPA on the team, and we were going over my taxes one year, and he said, listen, here's the tax strategy, here's what you should be thinking about. And as we watched our progress, they were accountable alongside me, right? So I'm not by myself trying to figure it out, but they were then able to give me strategies that I could then share even with you and say, this is the strategy, this is how they want me to use resources outside of using my own cash. Here's what we're looking at, right? And so then I could share my milestones and my goals with you and say, hey, Brandon, here's what I'd like to do over the next 12 months, 24 months. Let's think about how this all comes together. And so and this is not solely just about your banker, but this is the power of having those partners on your team that can really guide you, because I'm great at doing what I do, right? I'm not a banker, I'm not an accountant. But one thing I do know is strategy. And I know if I have a plan, then I'm equipped to actually run the distance. I do know that. And so when I think about who I need on my team or collaborative partners, it just becomes a part of the lift. So that's the banking lane, right? That's that money lane. That's driving money thoughts, money strategy, and your financial, kind of that financial playbook. Okay. That's what we want you thinking about. I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. And you talked about this even in your consultancy, Brandon, and in your earlier years. But part of our growth was to make sure we had a bench that could help us when we gain access to greater opportunities and projects, right? We have a staff of
Hmm.
5. So I can't run, a statewide or a federal program or a project with 5 people. We need folks that can help us mobilize. And so part of that was having great relationships that also had great relationships. And so that looks like for us consulting teams that have strong consulting partners. And so thus we then have it as well. So now I can say, okay, and we have an understanding through MOUs, through NDAs, through service agreements, everyone. We don't do all of this. This is not just the gentleman's or the woman's handshake, okay? This is with a binding document that we can hold each other accountable to because you're sharing information that may be considered proprietary to your business. But I can go into a meeting and someone say, well, how big is your team? And I tell them, and I say, and my collaborative partnership is about 35 deep. And so if we need to mobilize team members, we have access to them in a variety of ways, and they're across a variety of areas geographically. So that then empowers me and emboldens me to go after larger opportunities. I also then think, okay, well, we'll just think about the accelerator. If we're going to do our accelerator in another state, who do I know? What's in my bag that'll help me build my or connect the dots from Houston to Chicago per se? Well, what does that look like? And so now we're thinking about the agencies that we're a part of, right? I'm a certified woman-owned business. I'm active in my WeBank office here in my region in Texas and Houston. And so I can leverage my partnerships with that office to say, here's my opportunity. Who is it that's within our database that I can gain access to that has this skill set if I need to go off in that direction? I can also go, and you're familiar with the Minority Supplier Development Council. I can go to our council in our Houston chapter and say, here's an opportunity I have. Can you help me with strategy on how to deliver on this? And so building that collaborative ecosystem, that ecosystem for capacity is really, you're a small business. You're building your corporate partners all the way around you. So I just really wanted to like take it into that lane, Brandon. And I'd love to hear maybe if you had a story of a business owner that you want to share. Leave them nameless, but definitely where you can see, how either a positive approach to collaboration worked out to their advantage, and even, a challenge was presented because they didn't know what the heck they were doing around the collaboration space. So I love to hear a story about a business owner and how they use collaboration in either direction.
So I know a business owner. Well, first, let me just say there are a lot of business owners now who are going into the consulting space, into the people management space, into the professional services space. Okay, that's huge right now. When you're in that space, you are typically going after contracts. You're responding back to RFPs or RFQs from either the private sector, meaning corporations, or the public sector, meaning, city government, metro, the ports, federal government, things of that nature. So when they put these RFPs out or these RFQs, there's always that section in there where they want you to justify why you are an expert at this particular thing. Okay. And I know that, everybody on this call is just fabulous, right? And I know that we could probably do everything, but the reality is we're probably like great at one or two things, like great. Like we're probably like assassins at one or two things. Not that we can't do everything, but we're great at one or two things. So when you're going after these RFPs, it's not going to stand out if you list that you have all of this great, awesome experience by yourself and you're the only person or the only firm, which is a firm of a total head count of just you, that you can do all of these things and do them at the level that they're going to want them done. That's not realistic. However, when you go in and you collaborate with other firms where, okay, I know Kyra is like awesome at this, but I can bring on this person to do this part and this person to do this part and this person to do this, to do this part. And to your point, you form a JV, which is a joint venture, or, some type of collaboration agreement on paper, right? Protecting everyone who's a part of the collaborative. And you go in and now you stand a much better chance of locking down the contract. So I know people who are part of what's called the SBA's 8-8 program. And it's a great program where if you get in, it's a process, but it's for 9 years if you get in, and you can go after all kinds of federal contracts. But the beautiful part is there's several sole source contract opportunities there. They have a lot less competition when you bid on contracts there. So people who get in, they're able to collaborate with people who are not in the program to fulfill those contracts. And I'm familiar with people who really truly leverage that to maximize the monetary value of every day they're in that program, right? Because there's just like this laundry list of opportunities, and because they have a big network, they can collaborate with people who are not in that program to go after these contracts. And because there's not a lot of competition, they end up winning a lot of these contracts. So as long as you have a good infrastructure set up that's built for collaboration, that's built for engaging other firms, other people to come in and work through a project. When I say built for that, I mean you have to have an accountability system. You have to have your payment processing system on point. You have to have your CRM to manage the communications with everyone on point. Like all of that has to be set up and on point. And the more you do that, the more used to running seamlessly you become, right? Because you want to look like one company to whoever is giving that contract to you. You do not want to look disjointed, because if you are the prime on that contract, then the buck is going to stop with you. So an example of that. And one of the things that I really truly appreciate about you and some of the other people that I've met who are in your atmosphere is how you are like beautifully structured to look like a well-oiled machine, operate like a well-oiled machine. I mean, when I tell you, you maximize the skill set of everyone that you bring in as a collaborator. It's really truly amazing, and I just appreciate what you bring to the table. So kudos to you as an example of a high functioning, successful CEO, a smart CEO.
Smart CEO. Thank you for that, Brandon. I will definitely wear the badge of honor to be a smart CEO with pride. And I'll share this. You went in some really, you went into some really cool doors. And for our CEOs that are really what I call enterprising, I want you to understand this, that the enterprising process does include you obviously going after larger dollar opportunities. And so as we start to go after larger dollar opportunities, even with the Kyra company, we have a sister company essentially that we're now working with, that is in a lane that is adjacent in some ways to what we do. But Brandon, that company is geared and chock full of all of the assets we don't have, right? So that company has the certifications under your disadvantaged veterans. You've got the all the SBA certifications that are there, but there are some specific set asides that firm can go after. And because we are collaborating organizations, we now can share capacity and share our past performance. Why? Because if we go after these opportunities, and I'll share this with everyone that's listening, as the firm goes after opportunities in the category of cybersecurity, healthcare services, disaster recovery, the Kyra company, which is an organizational development consulting firm that has that project management capacity and project management office capacity, we marry in solutions, right? Because while they're going after an expertise of cybersecurity, we're supporting an expertise of project management and resource provision. So we then get to become a great partnership along the journey. And so we had to do that, or I should say, we get to do that really only because we're all bringing such valuable assets to the table. So now the Kyra company can, in fact, have conversations about contracts and opportunities on the federal, state, and local levels that we would not ordinarily have access to if we were the Kyra company without that organization that we could share capabilities with. So it gets even deeper as you go forward, and you're thinking about to grow, right? Part of our growth strategy on our end is to grow, and we weren't sure if we were going to go grow through acquisition. And we talked about this, Brandon. Do we want to acquire some organizations to beef up our capacity, or do we want to be acquired to beef up our capacity? I don't know. We're at year 8. I'm getting the itch. What's next, right? And so we start thinking about it from that perspective. Yeah, and like, okay, is there a merger looming? I don't know. Is there an acquisition looming? I don't know. But I am thinking about the growth strategy, and I know that it's better for us to build capacity where there is, as you stated, kind of that value that I don't bring. And the same thing for them. I have the value they don't bring. It's a perfect combination. So those are part of the growth plans, and that could exponentially change the way we look from year 0 to today, and then the next the next 10 years. So huge conversation, Brandon. And I know that's a part of some of the things that you look at when you think about business growth. What's your recommendation for business owners as they are thinking about their growth strategy, and then who or what they need to help them get there? What's your recommendation? Like, what's step number one for them?
Well, step number one, and I'm going to go here because I don't think enough business owners either take the time to think through this part or appreciate the importance of it. But number one is understanding the financial cycle and how money works. Okay. We all know that it takes money to make money, and there are going to be opportunities, like you were just saying, for business acquisition or a contract that is huge, but it takes money to start it off. And as a business owner, you should not focus on using your own money. Okay, you should try to leverage. You use your money to leverage using other people's money. Now, I know a lot of people on this call, and the way they think about debt is how your grandmother and the old folks taught you. You know, if you don't have the cash in your pocket, you just leave it on the shelf. You don't use no credit card. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, listen. In your personal debt life, if you want to think that way, then fine. Okay, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, have no problem with it. If you see that Louis or Gucci or something bag on the shelf and you don't have the, I don't know, 500,000, 10,000, whatever it costs to buy it in your pocket or in your checking account, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't buy it. Maybe you shouldn't put it on that American Express card or that Chase Ink card or that Chase credit card and accumulate that debt because you don't have the money in your account. I get it. But you are CEOs, you are business owners, okay? On the business side, debt is viewed a little bit differently. You use debt to invest in your business for a return on that investment, okay? So you're not using that $10,000 credit card to purchase a depreciating asset. You're using that $10,000 to front the material cost and what it takes to do this contract that's going to pay you $50,000. So now you have a return on that investment, right? You pay off the debt, and now you have what's called cash flow. This is one of the principal things that a business banker or a bank looks at when it looks at your business. Is cash flow. Okay. So it's not about you using every dollar that you make to spend on your business. It's about you creating a bit of a buffer when you make that money. Utilize somebody else's money to invest in your business to get a return on that investment. For the CEOs who are still working in the 9-to-5, W-2 world, right? If you're still an employee, but you have your business on the side, what I would highly encourage you to do is, if your business is properly formed, then go ahead and start looking at securing some type of business line of credit, business credit cards, something that you can establish monetarily for the business, okay, while you have additional revenue coming in to help better qualify you for getting approved for that business line of credit or business loan. Okay. I know what some of you are saying. Well, I don't want to get a business loan if I don't need to spend it right now and stuff like that. Okay. Guess what? You should borrow when you don't need it. Yeah, I know we live in a sick world. I get it. Okay. But we should borrow when you don't need it, because when you need it, that's when you're all stressed out. That's when it doesn't look as good because, well, why do you need it? We live in a backwards world, borrow when you don't need it. And if it's a loan, then put it in a separate account and just have the payment auto debited from that account. But guess what? When you're ready to make a power move with your business, you already got the money there. Make the power move. Part of this business success is about opportunity as well. Having the ability to jump on it. What if Kyra wants to buy that business, but they got a few people bidding on it, and she doesn't have time to wait for the financing and everything. But if she has, money already saved up, then she can be more aggressive in getting that business, because that investment is going to make her even more of a millionaire than she already is. So you have to start looking at business financing differently. And this goes back to why I say you should have a relationship with your banker ASAP. Now, if you can't call that banker on the phone, then that's not a relationship. If you can't walk into, if let's just say if they have branches, if you can't walk into a branch and they sitting there and they welcome you with open arms, come on over, Brandon, come have a seat. Sure. So what's the business like today? You know, boom, they don't know anything about you, your kids, or that ain't no relationship. Who? How many relationships do you have when they don't know nothing about you? There ain't no relationship.
Right.
All right. So anyway, I can go on and on. If you want to hear more, you just holler at your boy, for real.
Mm-hmm. In real life. And I love that, seriously, I love real people. And I can't tell you how many times I've met folks that maybe have seen the persona of Kyra or the Kyra company or the Smart CEOs online, or Kyra Rennell, and have been like, you're actually way more down to earth than I thought you would be. You are actually a really cool and authentic person. And to your point, real relationships have those characteristics built in. I can tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can see it on my face. Why? Because we built a relationship, and we built a relationship so that I can lean in and trust that that you're going to provide me with good insight. But if you don't know, I've got a kid about to go to college, I've got one in college, and you're like, Kyra, you're trying to make decisions, and are you thinking about all the factors? I know it's the business, but are you thinking about all the factors? We had a conversation about, where did I want to live? Where do I want to buy? When do I do that? What do I need to do? I want to grow the business. Which step is first? And it's really about flushing out decisions, because I'm probably more emotional and connected emotionally to the decision than you are, for sure. And so you're like, okay, Kyra, step back and let's really think about this. What's the priority? And when you have real relationships, you can have real conversations with experts that have a breadth of knowledge that you don't have, so that you can actually leverage it and grow, right? I trust the insight because you put the time in. We read your bio earlier. We know you put the work in. You've got enough in your intellectual grab bag to pull out the right things for me, the same way you do for other people. And so, Smart CEOs, as we kind of bring this first summit conversation to a close, what I really want you to understand is that the wealth in every conversation starts with you having a strategy first. So that first conversation, that's the wealthiest one, is the one you have with yourself. So talking to yourself as the owner, as the strategist, as the visionary, to say, what is it that I really need? Where am I going? And what do I need to get there? That will change the game for you for the rest of your life, if you can honestly answer those questions. And then when you start to make those moves, folks like Brandon will show up on your pathway. Folks like the collaborative partners I've needed to show up will show up on my pathway. There's a position right now the Kyra company is really seeking to fill. And in order for us to fill it, there's some relationship that has to be built, because that's a pretty significant role. Well, guess what? That person showed up on my pathway a while ago, and in them showing up, it gave me an opportunity to start building a relationship. Whether I reveal to them what peg I'm thinking about or not for them is irrelevant. If they learn me, they're going to find out what my weak spots are anyway. And lo and behold, recommend themselves to fill it if they have the capacity. And that's really how it goes. You want to prove it. You want to have enough conversations with folks to know, are they the right people? But just like money, asking for a loan, you need the money, is the worst. Looking for a person when you need them is equally as bad. Looking for a resource, a hire, because you can never find the person. You'll never find them, or you'll burn them up so bad because you're so frustrated, with your ability to communicate what you need. I'll never forget this. I'm gonna tell this little big baby story, and then Brandon, I'm gonna toss it to you for last words. I remember I was at a I don't know, some type of an event, and I was talking to a business owner, and they pulled me to the side, and I knew this was going to be like an unscheduled consult right then in that moment, right? And so she starts talking to me, and she's telling me this story about how she's gone through all these admins and all these support people, and nobody's working, and nobody's doing this, and nobody's doing that. And so, if you know me, I looked at her square in the face, and I said, "Are you ready for them to take on those roles in your business? Because if you were ready, it sounds like you probably would have prepared an onboarding process for them. So I hear you with what they can't do, but I'm going to tell you what you're not doing. And if you're okay with hearing that, I can tell that you didn't prepare for their success. And so, in order for you to prepare for their success, you got to do that pre work, because you can get you won't even know they're an answer because you're not ready for it. So they won't even reveal themselves, and that's a real thing. And I want you all to understand that sometimes the answer's in front of your nose, but you don't even know it because you're not even prepped and peaked for to look for it. You're not even aware. It's not in the front of your mind. It's somewhere off in the back in this aspirational space. Well, no, bring it to the forefront, because its time is now. So Brandon, I'm going to leave you with last words. Brandon Morris, VP, JP Morgan Chase Business Consulting. You're really helping businesses do big things. Tell us your parting words as you get ready to exit the stage of the Smart CEO Summit. Tell us your thoughts.
Well, thank you, Kyra. So I would just say, as I exit the stage, be very mindful of the importance of having a team. And to the point you were just making, you have to prepare your team for success, meaning you doing the work. It is you setting out a structure for them to succeed, because you are the leader. As the CEO, you set the tone, you set the stage. You just need to get the actors to act well. Okay. So educate yourself. Be mindful. Do not be scared to engage partners that you did not look at as partners before, like your bankers. Okay. I expect to see everybody on this call in the sound of, if you can hear my voice right now, you should go to your bank tomorrow and get to know your business banker. Okay. But that is a very important part of your team. And, be prepared to share, grow, learn more about creating a healthy infrastructure for success.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon Morris, JP Morgan Chase. Thank you for such an amazing resource that you put out there in the world that we get to take full advantage of in the banking space. You do great work for us and keep serving the community the way you do. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kyra.
All right. All right. There was a bit of a delay there. So if you're moving with us through that delay, I saw it too. I saw it as well. But that's okay. That's technology for us. And we're going to continue to power through. So, smart CEOs, I know we just loaded you up with quite a bit. I hope you were taking notes. I see the chat. We're going to keep this thing going. But before we do, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, give you a chance. It's 12 o'clock in Houston. Wherever you are, we're going to give you a chance to grab your lunch and come back and meet us back here in 5 minutes. We'll be back in 5 minutes to join you again and to bring our next summit speaker to the conversation. I'll talk to you in just a moment. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope your break was as great as mine. I definitely took a moment to decompress, process, and experience, and really take in the experience that we just had with Brandon Morris of JP Morgan Chase. Exciting. But I'm excited now to bring to you the first conversation that we're going to have regarding credit. We're going to jump into it. And so I'm excited to introduce you to a woman that I know has figured out some things around the credit strategy and consulting around credit like no other. And Monty Hawkins leads Fig Restoration, and I am thrilled to bring her to you. So, Monty, as you get ready to come to the stage, I'm actually going to read this beautiful bio of yours and let the folks know exactly how incredible you are. Monty Hawkins, a respected leader in credit consulting and financial education, is a national certified financial education instructor. CFEI is the acronym for that. That certification, board certified credit consultant and founder of Fig Restoration. Her personal journey of overcoming financial challenges drives her passion to help others achieve financial independence and credit worthiness. With over 2 decades of experience in corporate accounting, Monty brings a wealth of expertise to entrepreneurs and marketplace ministry leaders. She facilitates credit education for business cohorts and educational organizations, inspiring positive changes in thousands of lives. A trusted advisor, Monty's guidance has been featured in various media outlets. Through Fig Restoration, she empowers individuals to overcome credit hurdles and attain lasting financial success through credit restoration. Monty's experience and integrity make her a beacon of hope for those seeking financial stability and a brighter future. I'm excited to bring Monty Hawkins of Fig Restoration to the stage. She's going to be talking about good behavior or yours, taking credit and taking credit seriously. It's all about credit and access. It is a personal thing. So, Monty, take it away. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kyra. It is definitely an honor to be able to speak to all of the individuals that have joined today. I'm so excited because I too am a member of the Smart CEO community. And let me tell you something, the individuals that I have had the opportunity to work with on both sides has been nothing but amazing. And it's just a testament to the leadership that takes place with this Smart CEO community that is found in Kyra. So once again, thank you. We are going to jump in. I'm not going to hold you all long. One of the things that I thought about as I was preparing this presentation is which direction do I want to go? Because, from a personal credit and financial standpoint, we can take many avenues. But for me, it has to be honest and it has to be transparent. I began to think about all of the different clients that I speak to on a daily basis and thinking about the conversations that we have and the struggles that they deal with. It was important for me to show up today with the truth. And so I'm thankful for everybody that has joined. If you're on this call, you are definitely a leader, you're a visionary, and you are a world changer. Yep. Some of you probably don't even realize that you are world changers, but you are. And guess what? The world wants more from you. And sometimes we are held back because of our financial stability or our credit. The financial environment that we operate in, we no longer can allow that to hold us back. So, as we begin, we need to understand why we are here today. According to SCORE, the statistic says that 82% of all small businesses fail due to cash flow problems. The lack of sufficient startup or growth funding is a common obstacle, often tied to inadequate personal credit scores. This is absolutely true. Another statistic is the NFIB concurs and says that a lack of startup funds or being unable to come up with adequate financing are both common reasons for businesses' failure. If you lack the cash or startup, you will fail. We've seen this across the board. The unfortunate piece is I often speak to leaders and professionals that has been turned down from major lending institutions. They come referred to me from CDFIs, from large banks, small banks, different business organizations, and they become desperate because they don't have the personal credit scores to use as leverage to even begin building their business credit. And I don't care what people tell you, you do need to have good personal credit before you start to venture out into business credit. And just like Brandon said previously before, don't wait until you start to have personal credit issues to try and apply for loans. Get the loans before you need them. Because let me tell you, the strain and the struggle of trying to get those loans when you are nervous and don't know which way to turn, it just falls flat. So that was a very, very good piece of information for from Brandon. You can go to the next slide, Caleb. So how do we get here? We get here because of financial situations. Some of us you can go to the next slide. Some of us have suffered from inflation, lifestyle changes, loss of clients. Some of us have even mismanaged our own funds. I know clients who have suffered with medical issues. And another thing, with the current economy, things are changing. We have people that are doing very great. But then on the other hand, when you have to come see me, there are some challenges. Mental health begins to take place. And so a lot of times people think that they are in a silo by themselves, especially when you are a leader, especially when you are a professional and entrepreneurs, and you try to deal with all of this yourself. It can end up in a downward spiral. And then the other thing is ego and fear. Ego and fear, I see that a lot of in a lot of professionals, because we really don't want to connect the fact that we are leaders. How do I end up in this place? This is not me. This is not what I signed up for. And so we do have to face those types of issues in our mind. You can advance. And so, with that being said, we all have a story, every single last one of us. And getting to that next level when you're struggling with personal credit and finances, it takes time and it takes patience and it takes a plan. So this reminds me of a client that I had. And this client had a thriving business. They were a community contributor. They had just complete financial security, enjoying all the pleasant things in life. And one day they took ill. And in their illness, they became bedridden for a particular amount of time. And so the challenges for them was not being able to pay their bills. They had a loss of income, so much so where they had to start depending on some other individuals to help them. And they were overwhelmed by medical debt. As time went on, after going through so many treatments, they began to recover. And as you know, leaders, visionaries, entrepreneurs, CEOs, it's hard to keep us down. And this person mustered up enough faith to say, you know what? I feel better, but now I'm looking at my finances and I see that I'm in a strange place that's foreign to me. And this does not feel good. I know that I have a purpose. So guess what? They decided to reach out, and they didn't come to me initially. They spoke to their attorney, a lawyer for bankruptcy, and they were so far gone that they had to file bankruptcy. They just did not have a choice. And this is not always the case with everyone. So the bankruptcy attorney gave them a plan, and the bankruptcy attorney referred them to me. And so they came to me because they wanted to start rebuilding their credit. And they understood, after we had a conversation, I acknowledged, all of the pain points they were going through. And we sat down and I told them, hey, a bankruptcy is not a death sentence. You can absolutely recover and continue to grow and build. And so we came up with the plan because they would not be able to apply for business funding or anything like that until after that 2 years was completed. And so they worked both plans flawlessly. They completed the bankruptcy. They went through my strategic plan. And when they finished, the outcome of that was that this business owner in 2 years, remember, they had fallen way off. Their credit scores dropped to a 400. When we finished and they came out of the bankruptcy, they were now at a 740. And guess what happened? Because of access because of network, because of their drive, they were able to get a business loan, also get a new car, because remember I told you they lost everything. They rebuilt, and not only did they rebuild, but they expanded, and they are impacting individuals everywhere. And this may be the case with some of you all. Everyone doesn't have such an extreme degree of trauma, financial trauma as this person. But even when you're trying to just gain a couple of points, I have clients who are looking to gain 10 points, 15 points, 20 points. It's all the same type of plan that takes you to get to this point. And so I am so excited and proud of this client for taking the time, because it was not easy. And I'm not one of those consultants that will tell you, hey, sign up with me and this can take place for you overnight. It doesn't take place overnight. You have to have a plan. But first of all, you do have to lose fear. You can advance, Caleb. You have to lose fear and make sure that you take the proper steps. And this is what I see in talking to individuals that come to me. I work with leaders of all types of influence. And this is why I have to be very careful, because I work with city leaders. I work with high value professionals. I work with influencers, athletes, excuse me. And so the biggest concern is with privacy and reputation. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. The biggest concern is with privacy. Oh, I'm sorry, you all. Is with privacy and reputation. No one wants their business out there. Any perceived financial instability can be seen as a reflection of their ability to either manage or lead. And that's important. That's one reason why they don't want to come to the table. Number two, access to capital. Access to capital can cause major headaches, or not having access to capital can cause major headaches for entrepreneurs and professionals that are trying to get to the next level. Poor credit can limit access to the necessary financial resources that will allow you to grow and scale. And then number three that I see, and everybody says this, is influence and negotiation leverage. Leaders worry that knowledge of their poor credit could weaken their position in negotiations or diminish their influence with peers, investors, or partners. I mean, just think about it. Think about those contracts that you are going for. Some individuals are afraid to go to the banks because they look one way to society, but behind the scenes, it looks like something totally different. And the exposure of that causes us to be very, very fearful. And so with that, I want to add that we have to understand the power of vulnerability and seeking help. You can advance. The power of vulnerability and seeking help. This is important because you have to have the help from the right individuals. Individuals that are operating with integrity, thinking about the different communities and your different networks, such as the Smart CEO community. Acknowledging the need for help is the first step towards transformation. The courage to seek help and embrace vulnerability can set the stage for a powerful recovery and return. The most important thing when it comes to increasing your credit scores and getting out of that hole is to lay all cards on the table. It's not about admitting defeat. It's about preparing for your comeback. And your comeback is necessary. And I know you all are probably like, you are supposed to be talking to us about credit, and I am. But let me tell you something. Everything that I've just stated up until this point are major hindrances to those individuals who need to excel in their personal credit scores. So let's go to the next slide. How do we do this? Once we've come to the mindset of gathering ourselves together, setting aside fear, becoming vulnerable, now it's time for you to gain access and rediscover your purpose, or to discover your purpose, or just to go higher in the lane that you are already operating in. So the first thing is consider your entire comprehensive credit assessment. Looking at those credit reports, a lot of times we don't want to look at them, but look at them. because that's what's going to be the initial start to you going higher. I recommend, and I'm going to give you a couple of tools that you can use. I'm not going to do too many for the sake of time. But one of my favorite credit reports is myfico.com, because we are all from different industries. We are all trying to get loans from various different industries. And one thing about MyFICO, and I'm not an affiliate of these individuals, it's just when I come into good products, I like to share them because I want you to be able to capitalize off them to go to the next level. MyFICO uses industry specific scores. And so this is very important because the same scores that a mortgage lender may use, a business credit company may not use, or the banks may not use, or the auto loans, they all use different industry specific scores. So it's important to know where you are in that aspect. And then after that is having a personalized credit improvement plan. Some people just wake up and say, hey, I'm going to fix my credit. And they don't know where to go. They're just trying things. Scores are dropping. You would not imagine how many calls I get because individuals' scores are dropping because, number one, they're listening to influencers who are just that, influencers, not always educated, telling them to do this. They're having them start at a point where they just should not be. And so you have to have a personalized credit improvement plan that you are able to operate from on a monthly basis, because your plans can change based on either increases in your scores or decreases of your scores and financial stability. And then the next thing is credit utilization optimization. That's going to be so important. 30% of your credit score. And those are talking about all of your different credit cards. And you have to crawl before you can walk with credit cards. Let's just say that. Everybody wants an American Express. Everybody wants American Express. But you have to crawl before you can walk in order to get there. Understanding, what do I need to do with these credit cards in order to gain points? Because if utilized correctly, your scores can soar. With that, do I need to have credit card increases? Do I need to transfer balances? And of course, that all comes with a certain credit score as well. The other side of that, and one of the most important, is the diversification of your credit portfolio. This is really important because the stronger your credit profile is, the higher and the quicker your scores are going to go up. And that's what the lenders are looking for. Yes, they look at your score, but that score is going to determine your interest rate. What does that profile say about you? The stronger it is, the better chance you are going to have of your scores coming up. And this is why it's so important that you have that personal credit improvement plan, because in that, it will show you how to diversify the correct way. Having the right mixture of accounts, having the wrong accounts added can cause your scores to drop. You have to take a look at your aging, the history, all of the ingredients of your credit profile. Diversification of your credit portfolio is what's going to be able to drive you to that next level. And then, of course, strategic debt management. That's so important because without the management of your debt, you will not have success with your scores. So I know the world says spend, 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 spend. With inflation, there's something that we need to understand. As business owners, we have to always be prepared. Life can happen at any moment. It can happen at any moment. So we have to make sure that we are taking good care of our finances, and then timely payments and financial discipline. Pay your bills on time. 35% of your credit score is where you are going to either gain a lot of points or lose up to 100 points with just one late payment. So that's going to be very, very important. I do want to back up just a little bit with the credit utilization optimization. I do have another platform that I want to share. Again, I'm not an affiliate, but when I see products that help clients, if you are, and I'm not going to go into too much, but if you are a member of Navy Federal, please contact them and talk to one of their agents. They can guide you on how to establish those right credit cards based on where you are. So I do want to tell you that take your time, because they will educate you on which card you need, where to start, and how to advance. So just make sure you plug that note in. So a roadmap assessing credit status to establishing financial goals, emphasizing strategic debt management, and leveraging professional relationships is so important. Talking about the professional relationships. At FIG, we have a network that is phenomenal. And we're able to, once you're back on your feet, we know those lenders that will give you those loans. After my client went through all of that with the bankruptcy, all it took was just an introduction to one of our lenders. And we work with several lenders. All it took was that introduction. Otherwise, that they probably wouldn't have been able to get on their own. So just like all of the speakers who have come before me, understanding who are those integral individuals that you can partner with in order to get to that next level. And so some of you may be saying, that's great information, and we're taking notes, but how do you know? Let me tell you this. And this is just going to be one of those transparent moments. I learned a lot about credit and finance. I know the laws and all of that. But I had to learn in a way that I didn't welcome. People always say experience is the best teacher. This is a proven plan, not just for my clients, but also for myself. So Kyra mentioned in my bio earlier that I was in corporate finance for 20 years. I resigned and then I started FIG Restoration. FIG Restoration will be 7 years this year in June. And I'm very excited about that because I didn't think that I would make it many days. And a year into starting my business, I bootstrapped my company. I didn't take out loans. Don't do that if you don't have to. I was just very confident in the position that I was in, that it would not be a problem. Well, a year into my business, the breadwinner of my family took ill and had cancer and no longer had that income coming in. And so from there, it just became a downward spiral. And here I am, a new business owner. I'm not making a lot of money. First year, I think I made about $12,000. And that's definitely not enough to support a household of 3 kids and one that was in college. Now I have a second one that's in their first year of college, but it took a toll. And then it was one thing after the next, one thing after the next. And then I found myself in year 3. Now a single mother, taking care of children, having to just do everything. And I'm drowning in debt, collections, charge-offs, being sued, okay? Judgments, liens on properties. Let me tell you, oh, the web was all tangled. And I had to figure out how to untangle this web that had been weaved. And how did I end up here? Because I'm better than that. I'm smarter than that. I know everything about credit and finances. It is no way. But when life happens, it happens. And how do you recover? This is when you need the right individuals. This is when you need to know where to get the access. This is where you need accountability and teamwork. And so I got it together. I had a very powerful network. And then this is when, after I pulled my credit score back up, let me tell you this, I had a blow to my ego. And I could talk about ego because my ego was probably a little bit out of control. I had bragging rights because I had a score of 820. My credit score dropped to 385. I have yet to meet anybody who has had a credit score lower than 385. Thank God I am not there today. But it wasn't until I hired Kyra as my business strategist, and I was just transparent. I had not been transparent with anybody to that level of degree that I was for her, because I said, I'm coming back. And we went through it all, and she gave me great advice on how to grow and to scale, and even the confidence that I needed as a professional, because I was ashamed every time I stood up to give a credit education class. I too had issues, but I knew I was coming out of it. And when I finished my time with Kyra, she said, now you have your wings to go ahead on and grow and scale and be who God called you to be. And this is why I'm sharing this with you all, because some of you may have had some of these situations, may not be as extreme, may be worse, but understanding that your financial journey is as personal as your leadership path, because you all are leaders. It's about more than just recovering. It's about rediscovering your purpose and reigniting your vision. I understand, and you're not alone in this journey. So I'm here to guide you and to empower you and to just be transparent. We're all humans, right? We fall, but we get back up. So again, my name is Monty Hawkins, the founder of Fig Restoration, a credit consulting company that is elevating your finances with straightforward credit solutions and education for leaders and kingdom entrepreneurs. So I thank you all for your time.
Monty. Well done. I was over here like taking notes, fired up. And I want you to know that above all, as you deliver such great insight, what does change the lives of smart CEOs is the transparency. And so understanding what's happened to us that's brought us to a place where we are really diving in a space of exponential learning is important for us to understand. Like you knew, but you still had a life moment, right? I experienced something very similar. I shared that with you. I know, but I still had the moment. I couldn't change it, right? And so the moment occurred, I had to respond accordingly. And so I love that you shared that. The comments are coming in. People are like, I love my FICO. Thank you. The connection is in there. Rose, who's I know who's joining us all the way over a couple of oceans, is saying, hey, welcome in. She's been chatty all morning. And so she said, borrow when you do not need it. And that was really coming from the earlier conversation, but still the thread, Monty, that you shared. And so I think one of the most important pieces that you delivered to us today was just the transparency and the strategy to take the steps. So we get it. We're beyond the conversation of saying, what should my credit score be? Should I pay my bills on time? We get that, y'all. We're past that. Now it's about strategy. So Monty, thank you so much for gracing the Smart CEO stage and for sharing with us in our 2024 Smart CEO Summit. You are indeed a smart CEO, my fellow mastermind, our client, and our family. Quite frankly, we're thankful community, and you all can connect with Monty in the Smart CEO community. You can connect with her through the links in the chat. By all means, make sure that you fill out the form and get this engagement pack, because if I know right, Monty has provided us with a link to some tools. And so we want to make sure you get those once we wrap. Monty, thank you so much. Pleasure. All right, everybody. So listen, we're going to keep going, and it's only going to build from here. So if you've noticed the theme, there's truly wealth in every conversation. There's truly endless, I think, amounts of brilliance available to you every single day. But right here, right now, we've pulled the conversation together that we know is vital for the continuation and growth and success of smart CEOs across the nation. And we want to make sure that you have it. And so, I'll say this before I go to introduce our next speaker. Again, I am Kyra Renell, and I am the strategist, chief strategist. I can't get it out, and managing consultant for the Kyra Company. And specifically, I want you to understand that the Smart CEO community was founded to provide you with resources, access to information, the ability to learn, the ability to collaborate, and to do it in a space that was safe. Smart CEOs are business leaders, professional leaders, household leaders that are smart enough to raise their hand and say, I need some help. They're smart enough to get in the room. It's not that you don't know, it's just that you need some support to do it even better. And so that's what we know for sure. All right, smart CEOs, I am excited to get into this next conversation. So we just talked about personal credit, and we talked about what it looks like when we're building personal credit up, and when we're responsible and diligent about the strategies that we need. And I'm thrilled to invite you to a conversation with Jennifer Counter. Jennifer Counter is the founder and CEO of both Jennifer Counter Consulting in Houston, Texas, and Counters Tutoring Connection in Katy, Texas. She is a sought after public speaker and panelist guest on a variety of business topics. Her experience as an entrepreneur, certified teacher, and motivator helps others uncover their inner power and tap into their God given strengths and natural abilities. She possesses the unique ability to help others make transformational changes and embrace a new future and mindset. She is an exceptional communicator, author, business strategist, and business credit consultant. She has helped business owners in over 50 industries launch new businesses and grow their existing businesses while building business credit and acquiring large amounts of funding. Jennifer, let's talk about business credit. This is your business. Welcome to the Smart CEO Summit stage. Jennifer Counter, welcome, 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 and take it away.
Thank you so much, Kyra, for the beautiful introduction. And thank you so much also to you and the Smart CEO community for having me on here today. So excited to speak to you guys today and to share what I know about business credit and about accessing capital. I want to be very transparent, just like Monsi was. I think the two speakers before me did a phenomenal job explaining a lot of the aspects about the importance of financial literacy and credit and how that helps us on a personal level, but also in our businesses. So I'm going to continue that conversation. So excited to be here again. Thank you so much. And today we're going to be talking about access to capital and how it is so essential to business growth. So following Monsi's lead, like I said, I've started two businesses from the ground up. And Kyra, you know that from our personal experience together. And one of the biggest obstacles that I ran into in the beginning was after I had exhausted all of my personal money, now what do I do next? So I had to take a really deep dive in a very short period of time because my first business, Counters Tutoring Connection, took off very quickly. And I was looking to get a brick and mortar space, hire more people. I needed more supplies, more materials, and I was running out of funding. And so I had to take a really deep dive into how does this business credit world work? I'll be honest with you and tell you that in the beginning, I felt like this is kind of like a secret society. Like I used to drive down the street and I would see businesses and I think to myself, surely these people know something that I don't know, because how are they all running their businesses? Like they can't be self-funding all these businesses. And so through a lot of reading and studying and learning, I came to understand how business credit works and really not only the importance of it, but the opportunities that you can gain from utilizing business credit and all the different types of business credit that there are. There are a lot of similarities between business credit and personal credit. Some of those Monsi touched on. But what I want to talk about today is how to build business credit and the benefits of establishing and utilizing that business credit. One of the important things I want to mention first is that you're able to build business credit even if you have a brand new business and you literally just started your business, or if you have an existing business and you've just been operating your business with your personal money. One of my previous clients came to me after 18 years in business and said, Jen, I've been doing this with my own money. I don't even have a business checking account and I've been doing it for 18 years, but it feels so heavy. What can I do? And I said, the first thing we have to do is we have to separate your personal money from your business money, and we have to start establishing some business credit. And then I've had conversations with some of my consulting clients who say, I haven't even started my business yet. I'm in the process of getting my LLC, or can you help me get my LLC? And then what do I do next to start acquiring funding? So I just want to encourage anybody who's listening in, regardless of where you are in the trajectory of being an entrepreneur, that there are opportunities available for you to start building your business credit. Some of those you can do with no, it's called PG, no personal guarantee. And then some of them you can kind of accelerate the process by becoming a personal guarantee on some of your business credit. So there are ways to build business credit and strengthen your business profile, definitely. It does not matter what your business type is or your business industry. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business, and it doesn't matter the amount of business that or income that your business is currently generating. You can still start from any point and start to build your business credit. The business structure and the foundation of your business is so important when we start talking about how we're going to build our business credit. So I'm into land development and real estate, commercial and residential real estate. And I love the part of building homes or businesses when we get to pick out all the pretty stuff, right? Like the countertops and all the nice fixtures and the lighting and everything like that. But we can't just jump ahead to that. We have to first focus on the foundation. Sometimes that means building up a dirt pad, or it means, you know, focusing in on getting extra permits or laying the concrete foundation. All of those things are really important. It's equally as important when we use that analogy and we think about how to build a business and build business credit. So I always tell clients that in order for you to become fundable, you have to be credible first. So the people that are giving the credit away and that are approving those credit lines and those credit cards, they need to know that you're going to do right by them. They need to know that if they give you access to this funding, that you're going to make good on your payments, right? Because it's a business for them, but it's a risk for them too. So they want to make sure that they are giving funds to somebody who has good intentions and who has proven that they're going to be good stewards of that money too. So laying that foundation is the first step to build that relationship with your creditors, to let them know I'm serious about my business. I've taken time to establish the formation of my business, the foundation of my business. And I've taken a lot of time and resources and money and energy to invest in making sure that the structure of my business is solid. So a few things that I want to touch on first. If you're either just starting a business, thinking about starting a business, or you have an existing business, when we talk about the business structure, if you're thinking about like a to-do list, the first one is your EIN number. This is your employer identification number. You get this number through the IRS. This is a free number, so you don't have to pay anybody to apply for this. You can go directly to the IRS's website and you apply for your EIN number for your business. This is a specific number solely for your business. So if you're operating more than one business, you don't want to use your EIN from one business for, you know, charges and try to get credit for another business. Separate those businesses, make sure that each business has their own EIN number. The second thing is you want to make sure that you are registered for your business formation with the Secretary of State. So the Secretary of State, you could be registering to have an LLC or an S Corp, but you want to make sure that your business formation is correct, and that all of your information, your address, your contact information, who the owners of the company, all of that is listed. You also want to make sure that anything that you list with the Secretary of State or any other business entities is similar, not similar, but the same for the IRS as well. So make sure that it's fluid across the board and that you're using the same information so that when your credit is pulled for your business, that everything lines up and there aren't any questions for the potential creditors. You also want to make sure that you have an operating agreement. This is very important. This specifies how your business will be ran. And also, if you are not a sole proprietor or an individual business owner, if you have more than one party involved in your business, how is that business being structured? How is it being run? Or were you guys having board meetings? Just the details of how the business will operate. That's your operating agreement. Business checking account. This is a big one. You do need the information that I just provided, which is your EIN and then your articles of formation through the Secretary of State. You do need that information first, but once you have that information, you'll take that along with your driver's license, and you will then, as the business owner, open up a business checking account in the business's name. This is very important. Going back to what we just spoke on earlier, you want to make sure that you're separating your personal money from your business money. So if you have some type of business, say you have a clothing business and you're bringing in sales, you don't want those sales being funneled through your personal checking account. You want all that being funneled through your business account. So go ahead and set up a business checking account and a business savings account. It's important to establish a relationship with a bank or several banks as a part of your business building, credit building process. You want to start establishing those relationships. You want the bank to see that there are transactions going out and there is money coming in so that they can see the validity of your business and they can see that you are really a working, operating business. And then when you go to them and ask for a credit card and say, I want to apply for a business line of credit or a business credit card, they can see it makes sense because here's your expenses and then here's the money that's also coming in as income every month. The last and final piece on the checklist that I want to make sure I mention is the DUNS number. So your DUNS number is a 9-digit specific number that you have to apply for. It will be assigned specifically for your business. Again, if you're operating multiple businesses, you want to get more than one DUNS number, one for each business. And it usually takes between 15 to 30 days, sometimes a little bit earlier, to receive your DUNS number. This is an important number, so make sure that you hold on to it, especially if you're going to be applying for some trade lines, some net 30 accounts or net 15 accounts, which we'll talk about here in a minute. They're going to ask for your DUNS number along with your EIN and your company information. Okay. That brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about. People always ask me when I have a discovery call about business credit. They say, Jen, is it true that I can build business credit without using my personal credit, or do I have to use my business credit? It's a yes and no answer. So you can build business credit without using your personal credit. But as I mentioned before, you can expedite the process a little faster by using your personal credit if you want to be a personal guarantor. So if you want to say, I'm backing up this loan or I'm backing up this credit card, and you're pulling my social security number and you're seeing that I've had credit cards on my personal side and I've paid them on in a timely manner and I've been a good steward of that, credit card, then you can definitely do that. If you are in a place where your your personal credit is maybe not as solid as you'd like it to be, then you can definitely start with what we call tier 1 accounts. Tier 1 accounts are beginning accounts that you can apply for that will not ask you to back it up with your personal social security number. It will ask for the company's information, the EIN, the business information, the business contact information. And some of these trade lines will have a membership fee, a small membership fee, $50 or $100 a year. And then they give you the opportunity to purchase things based on the line of credit that they extend to you. Some of them, there are no membership fees and you can just begin purchasing items. People ask all the time, what kind of things can I buy and what type of companies can I get trade lines from? Some of the popular ones, Uline, Granger, Quill. On my link tree on my Instagram, there's a whole list of them that you can purchase pretty inexpensively, and it will show you who all the different vendors are that you can purchase lines of credit through. This is a great way to establish your business credit if you're a brand new business, or if you don't, again, want to use your personal credit to help expedite that process a little quicker. You can do net 30 accounts, net 15 accounts. Those are, again, the tier 1 beginning phase. So if we think about different tiers of business credit, that would be your first tier. Your second tier are your gas cards. Some good gas cards are Fuelman, Chevron, Shell. Then also your retail cards. So when you think about cards like Office Depot, Staples, Home Depot, Office Max, these are going to be credit accounts where they will extend you a certain amount of money, $3,000, $5,000, and then you make monthly payments just like you would on your personal credit cards. So the trade lines in tier 1 and also the gas cards and retail cards on trade 2 will all be reporting to your business credit. Will not be reporting to your personal credit, but will be reporting to your business credit to help establish a payment history. So one of the important things to note is that you want to establish a positive pay history and also different types of accounts to build your business credit profile. That's going to make you a strong candidate for when you want to go down the road and get further, bigger, larger loans. Those larger loans are in the highest tier that we're going to talk about, and that is the tier 3, which is large bank loans, SBA loans, commercial loans, and vehicle loans. So if you think about it in that tier process, just like we talked about building a house, you go in steps. And then you get to a point where your business is really strong and you're no longer the one that's reaching out to the banks asking for funding. You're then getting offers from different banks and different creditors because they have access to your business credit. They can pull your business credit and see that you're in good standing, and they can see that you have different trade lines and different credit accounts. And then because they're in the business of lending, then they're coming to you and they're saying, we have an offer for you. And then you can choose how you want to utilize those funds and the different things that you want to do for your business. 5 factors that impact your business credit scores. People ask this a lot. 5 of the main factors that impact your business credit score are your payment history, your credit usage, your age of your credit mix, and then your business info. So payment history is pretty self-explanatory. You know, how are you paying your bills? Are you paying them on time? I always tell my clients, when it comes to business credit, pay those accounts early. And if you can, make multiple payments each month. And then credit usage. Ideally, we would, always want to strive for keeping our credit below 10% if we can. If 30% is still healthy, but if you can keep it below 10%, that's ideal. And then your age of credit. How long have you had these credit cards? If you open an account, even if you're not using it all the time, keep that open, because it's contributing to the age of your credit, and it's helping to establish that healthy mix on your business credit profile. And the last piece is the business info. We talked about the business info a little bit earlier, making sure your business is structured properly, but also keeping in mind that you want to make sure that your business owner's information is listed correctly, that you don't have multiple addresses, that you're using one address on all of your legal documents, that you have a Google presence, so that if somebody were to Google your business, if a potential bank or a lender or credit card company were to Google your business, is it going to show up? And are there going to be reviews, photos? Does it look like a real operating business? A complete DUNS profile. So when you register for your DUNS number, you want to make sure that all of your information is correct. Everything about your business, but also you want to make sure that your NAICS code, that's your industry code. So every business has its own industry code that is assigned specifically for that business. So for example, my consulting business has a completely different NAICS code than my tutoring business, because those are different industries that are not related. So they are classified completely differently in my DUNS profile. And then also just making sure, again, that your business formation and all of that information is correct. Another thing that I want to touch on, and then we're going to have some time for Q&A, is benefits of business credit. A lot of people ask me this question too, and they say, well, Jen, I mean, what's the point? Like, why should I establish business credit, or what's the benefits of having business credit? Aside from the fact that it's what I mentioned before, which is it's access. It gives you access to capital. It gives you the opportunity to complete projects, to be able to expand, grow, launch, scale your businesses. The other thing is you're not using your personal money. So if you've ever applied for a home loan, one of the things they look at is your debt to income ratio. So they want to see how much money are you bringing in, how much money are you spending. Well, if your personal credit is way down with a lot of business credit cards and a lot of business debt, that's going to negatively impact how much of a home loan you can get, or even if you can even get approved at all. So one really beautiful thing about business credit is you're able to put things in the business's name that will not affect you on the personal side. So separating your personal money again from your business money, but also separating your personal credit from your business credit. One of the things I like a lot about business credit is the generous lines of credit. I feel like business credit card companies and banks, they understand it takes money to make money. And so in order for you to operate a business, in order for your business to grow, in order for you to launch a business, you need money. You have to have money to do all these things. And so the lines of credit on credit cards and on business loans, they're usually very generous because they understand that premise and they understand where you're starting from. The other thing I like about business credit is it helps you purchase equipment and supplies. It can help you fund your operating costs and even your payroll cost. I know for me personally, there were a few times when in the beginning phases of starting my tutoring business where we had a lot going on and there were a lot of expenses because it was a new business and we needed a lot of supplies and a lot of materials. And, there were times where I was like, the operating budget's getting kind of tight. That was a great opportunity for me to then go utilize a bank loan, a business loan, a payment processor loan, and then I would have extra money to operate the business from. So that's definitely a benefit of business credit. You can also use business credit for purchasing vehicles, real estate, and commercial properties. Those things are definitely amazing when you can get to that point and you're able to really fully operate from the business credit and you're able to utilize all the business credit to expand and to grow and even to get into new different types of business. I recently read a Forbes quote and an article, and the quote read, "While money can't solve all of your problems, it can certainly give you an advantage." I definitely agree with that. My mindset where I am as an entrepreneur and a business owner, operating my business now, 10 years later, with the understanding of how business credit works, is completely different than when I started out and I did not have any base knowledge on how to build business credit or how to grow your business by using what we call other people's money. Okay. It's my mindset's completely different. I see things differently, and I can see an opportunity, and I can now look at it with a different level of understanding, but also less anxiety, because I know that it's not solely me trying to fund this business, that I know that I've built the business credit enough to a place where I can acquire funding to then go out and do the things that I would like to do. A couple of tips that I want to share real quick. Kyra, should I share these tips first, or should we do the Q&A first? Okay. Kyra?
You can keep going. I'm jumping in. Yeah, you can keep
Okay,
going.
keep going.
Jen.
Okay. So just
want to hear the tips.
Okay. So just a couple tips real quick. I just want to share, hopefully people are taking notes. Nav.com. Nav.com is a way for you to access your credit profile. It's a way for you to see your credit score every month and see things as you're adding those trade lines, as you're getting those business credit cards. You can see them being reported to your credit bureaus for your business accounts. And then also, when you sign up for their business boost, the business boost is around $30 a month, but it will actually give you a trade line, and that trade line will be reporting to nav.com. So again, that's nav.com, business boost, and Kyra, we can work to get that link put somewhere here in the chat. The second one is eCredible. eCredible is a self-reporting website. And when I say self-reporting, I want you to think of all the things that your business pays for every month that are not automatically put on your business credit. So one of the biggest differences between business credit and personal credit that I had to learn the very hard way was, just because I'm paying my internet bill, or I'm paying my phone bill, or I'm paying for the light bill at the tutoring center, I just automatically assumed that those things were going to be reporting to my business credit when I very first started, because I figured I put those things in my business name. I used my EIN. So I thought all along it was building my business credit. It wasn't until I went to get a bank loan that the bank said, well, you do have a good business, and you have a lot of business, and your revenue is good, and your business is structured properly, but you don't have any business credit. There's nothing reporting on your business credit. And I was like, really? How can that be? Because I have a lot of expenses every month that I'm paying. So why are those not reporting? And the reason, in all transparency, is the laws are different for business than it is for personal. And so things that would normally get reported on the personal side automatically are not necessarily required to be reported on the business side. But the good news is, eCredible is an amazing website. I've used it personally myself in the early stages of my business. And what you do is you take a look at all of your monthly expenses for your business, and you set up an account through eCredible. I can't remember, but I want to say it's like $30 to get set up. And then it's about $9 per trade line, I believe, or per account each month. But what they do is they take your account information, your account number, and the company that you're doing business with. So say the light company, or your insurance on a building, or your car insurance. And what they do is they self-report that onto your business credit. And so that next time you pull your business credit, instead of seeing nothing, you'll see maybe 5 or 10 things that you pay for every month. Then you'll have those trade lines, and then you'll have your credit cards, and then you have a complete business profile with a lot of different accounts and a lot of different payment history that's building your business profile. So nav.com and eCredible. The next tip I want to give everybody is payment processor loans. If you have a business where somebody is paying you either through Venmo, Square, PayPal, those are payment processors. But the beauty of it is those companies are seeing how much money you're bringing in income every month. And so they can extend a loan to you, a payment processor loan, based on how much money your business is making. If your business is bringing in $10,000 a month, then you'll qualify for X amount of dollars, a business loan, and they have different payment terms. You may be required to pay a certain amount every week, bi-weekly, or monthly until you pay off that business loan. The other good thing is most of those automatically report to your business credit. And if they don't, you can, again, report it using eCredible. So that's a great way for you to establish that you've had a business loan and that you paid that business loan off. QuickBooks is another one. In the early stages of my business, I used QuickBooks for payment processor loans, really out of necessity because I needed some extra operating income, but it was really nice because it also reported to my business credit and it showed that I had a business loan. So then fast forward years later, when I went to the bank and tried to get a bank loan again, they said, oh, we can see that you had a bank. You've done a couple bank loans through QuickBooks. It looks like they extended this amount of money to you. You paid it off in full. You have a good payment history with them. So if you're using QuickBooks for your accounting, then you can definitely use their payment processor for a business loan as well. The beauty of those payment processing loans is they are not looking at your business credit score. They're looking at how much money your business is bringing in, and that's how they approve it. And you're not required to give your social security number as the owner either. They're going off of your business's EIN number. The last and final thing I just want to mention real quick is having a healthy mix of credit. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but just want to bring it home that when you're thinking about your business credit, think about it like you think about your personal credit. You want to have a healthy mixture of credit. You want to have installment loans. You want to have revolving accounts, lines of credit, and then small business loans. One other thing that you could do if your business is not in a place where you think you'll be able to qualify for loans and you've already done the tier 1 and you have some of the trade lines, but you're not in a place where you're able to secure any of the tier 2 credit, which is the business retail credit cards or the gas credit cards, as you can get a secured business card. You can simply Google secured business cards and it will pull up, Discover, Wells Fargo, different banks that have secured cards. So what that means is if you put $2,000 and into that secured card, then you now have a $2,000 credit limit. But the beauty is if you use that well and you're a good steward of that, which is your money that you're putting up, and you make payments on that and you keep that secured card under 10%, then in 6 to 8 months, you can contact that creditor and say, I've been using this for 6 to 8 months. Every month I put an additional $100. And so I've been building up my available credit. I'd like to now transition this secured credit card into a personal credit card. So that's a good way to build your business credit. If you, again, are, maybe not as strong on the financial side on your personal end, but it is a way for you to get a business credit card that can eventually be transitioned from a secured business card to a traditional business credit card. So I know that I've given you guys a lot of information. I could talk on business credit all day. There's so much more that I could share with you. But I hope that some of this has been insightful for you and has helped you kind of understand the ins and outs of business credit and how you can utilize business credit. I do have an ebook called How to Build Business Credit and Start a Business. You can find that on my website at www.jennifercounter.com. It helps you to understand how to structure a business, how to start a business, but also how to build a business utilizing business credit. That's what I do through my business consulting firm, Jennifer Counter Consulting. I help entrepreneurs, as Kyra said, launch, scale, and grow their businesses in any industry. So if you are interested, I'd love to speak to you. We do a 15-minute free discovery call where I kind of explain to you what business credit and business strategizing looks like and how we can help. So I hope everyone has a blessed afternoon, and thank you again for the opportunity to share. And I look forward to continuing the dialogue. I'm open for questions, Kyra, if anybody has any.
Awesome, Jennifer. And I will say, as a client of Jennifer's, it's been pretty exciting to learn from you, Jennifer. So thank you for not only being my colleague, my collaborative partner, but also my consultant when it comes to constructing business credit on my end. So thank you for that. We have a question from Rose Lucille, and her question is for Jennifer: regarding obtaining a business line of credit for new businesses less than 12 months, is it required to submit income tax returns?
That's a great question, Rose. So, Rose, I would say if you're going with a traditional business line of credit, like through a bank, then they will want to see tax returns because they want to see that it's been documented, the income that the business is earning. But if you're thinking of, like, for instance, Amazon has a line of credit. You do not have to show tax returns. And they will want to see that your business is properly structured. So you do have to give them your EIN, your business formation information. But Amazon is a great example of obtaining a business line of credit without submitting tax returns. And depending on how much income your business is bringing in, they will ask you to complete that in the application. They won't ask for the income tax returns, but they will ask for a kind of like a financial statement. And based on that, I have seen the business lines of credit for Amazon that are very generous. And their lines of credit sometimes are 15 days or 30 days. So net 15 would mean you would need to pay within 15 days, and then they have net 30 accounts as well.
Thank you, Jennifer. Great question. And Jennifer, I just want to say, I know in the engagement kit, they will have a link to purchase your ebook, but I just want you guys to get it and to know, that the experts we're bringing to this conversation are figured it out themselves. If you haven't figured out the theme around here, smart CEOs, they find the ways to get it done. And not only that, but they get in the room and do it. Jennifer, follow Jennifer. She's got some other amazing things going on in her story is amazing, but the journey she's on right now, and I'm not going to spill your bag of beans because you didn't do it. So they can follow you on your Instagram and others if they want to see the other things you're doing as a result of the great work and structure you built by leveraging your business credit. So that's a wink, wink to everybody. Go follow her, be curious, and find out what she's doing, because Jennifer running 2 organizations and doing something really powerful on her journey as a result of leveraging credit in a way that continues to pay off. So thank you, Jennifer, so much for being on the Smart CEO Summit stage today. I can't thank you enough. You are absolutely a gem. You and Monsi have really laid out the platform for personal credit and business credit. And just on the other side of this break, everybody, I'm excited. On the other side of this break, we will be hearing from our friends at Experian. And so it is exciting to bring them to the stage. So we'll be taking a short break and a 5-minute break, and we'll be back at it. And we'll be back at it with our friends from Experian. And I think it's important for you to understand that as we think about the big 3 credit bureaus, they're going to break this down for us. And TJ Mercer is here. He's going to do that. And we're going to have a great conversation and hear from him. And get your pens and your pencils ready. The links and all will be floating through the chat, but definitely want you to prepare yourself. So we will see you in 5 minutes, and we'll be back with our friends at Experian. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody. We're excited to have you back. I am Kyra Rennell, the managing consultant at the Kyra Company and founder of the Smart CEO community. If you've been hanging out with us all day, then you know we have been into it. Wealth in every conversation. We've been digging in. We started with Brandon Morris and I having a conversation about collaboration. And then just from that point, we jumped into a conversation with Monty and with Jennifer around personal credit and business credit. And so the goal for us today at in the Smart CEO community is to make sure that you understand that this is where you come to get information to grow your business, to grow yourself as a professional, and to enhance your community. That is what we want to happen here in the Smart CEO space. And then this particular space at the summit, the 2024 summit, it's all about wealth in every conversation. And so as we get ready for this next conversation, we are going to bring to you one of our friends from Experian. And I'm excited to do that because the landscape of credit is so vast. We know it from a personal perspective. We know it from a business perspective. But what about the tools? What about the organizations that lead us on the journey to understand how our credit shows up for those that are pulling it and accessing it? And then how do we manage that? What kind of control or tool do we have to gain access to? I'm excited to create a space for us today to have a conversation with one of our colleagues. And I think you'll be as thrilled as I was when I met TJ, to meet TJ Mercer today. So as we get set for it, let me read to you TJ's bio. I'm going to get it to you right now. Here we go. TJ Mercer, Senior Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, North America at Experian. TJ Mercer is the Senior Director of DE&I for Experian North America, and in this capacity, he leads the initiatives and the work and works as a thought partner and strategist for the North American businesses. TJ also serves as a credit ambassador, serving historically underserved communities, youth, and young adults in fostering new conversations around credit education. TJ is helping showcase how credit can be an asset to your financial journey and fighting against the misinformation that continues to hold these communities back. Now, listen, guys, we've just heard from Monty, we've heard from Jennifer, and we understand the dynamics. We've heard from Brandon, breaking down the dynamics around business, finance, and all that good stuff. And as I'm moving through this, I just want to pause a little bit to give you an understanding that this is a real process that we need to understand. And we also need to take full advantage of understanding how the tools will work for us. So I'm back to the bio, but I just want to take a pause and just share that with you because I don't want us to get so familiar with the idea of credit that we forget that the tools out there are designed to help us. And if we're not leveraging them, it's not us against them, it's them with us. And so how do we make sure that we leverage that? So here we go. TJ focuses on being a driver of consumer advocate as an internal and external connector with a keen focus on driving financial empowerment and inclusion. TJ resides in the Chicagoland area with his family, and he is a proud veteran of the Army. 10 years he served, and scholar, graduating with his bachelor's from the University of Missouri and his master's from the University of Illinois. So, Smart CEOs, join me as we welcome TJ Mercer, our colleague from Experian, to the stage. Welcome to the stage, TJ.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would have wrote a different bio if I knew you were going to read it off. I would have put threw some things in there, but I'm happy to be here. Excited for this event. Wish I was, there in person with everybody, but I love how much further we can stretch as we're doing this stuff virtually. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. The stage is yours. Take it away and share with us some of those great things you would have put in your bio too. We want to know.
A bunch of different stuff. So let me pull this up as we'll go into it real quick, and then I'll definitely talk. Let me know if you can see this as I'm pulling it up. Is everything good? You can see it? All right, great. Well, again, I won't go through the introduction and everything as far as that. I'm just super excited to be here. One of the reasons I joined Experian about 2 years ago was to do opportunities like this, in which I'm speaking to a numerous of different consumers at different backgrounds, but really trying to expand and almost reintroduce people to the concept of credit and understanding credit as an asset. And so, when I think about some of the historically underserved communities, if I think about even some of the predominant, communities, especially in North America, like K through 12, even in the undergraduate or master's programs, as you kind of read off of my bio, like I've spent 10 years in the military as well too. There was not a single lesson around credit. We did long division, we did calculus, we did geometry, we did basics of finances, where we talked maybe checking, maybe savings, but nothing that really talked about credit. For a lot of people, it's a trial and error type of experience. And depending on how you've curated the people that are around you, you can have a very negative or very positive relationship with credit. And so when the opportunity at Experian came up, I was immediately excited to jump on board because I just thought it'd be such a great opportunity to really educate and talk to people about this, right? I have these candid conversations with my colleagues and with my friends quite often, being young fathers, young husbands, being minorities within, North America. Just again, just having access to the information, I think, is key. I don't love math. I am decent at math, but I do know some basic principles. And one of the basic is you can't solve an equation if you don't know what all the variables equal. And credit is an essential variable in the equation for financial success here in North America. And I just feel as if a lot of times credit happens to people as much as it should. But I want I want people to be in charge and really have onus of that. And so I've titled this Give Me a Little Credit. I'll run through this presentation. I'm going to go through it pretty quick because I think I have about 35 minutes. And I definitely want to get to some of your questions as well, too, and be able to take that from you all. So first off, just Experian as a whole. I mean, we are the world's leading global information service company. We're more than just a credit bureau. We do a lot of B2B work. We do different things across the globe. We have over 22,000 people that work for us. We're more than just that three set of numbers that's in conjunction with the others as we're moving through that. And so if you haven't had an opportunity, go to the website, look at exactly what it is we're doing. I'll expand on some of it, but it's so much more than what it is that you believe. I'm very honest about my Experian story. Experian probably wasn't in my top 50 of employers that I was looking at, but now I think it's one of America's best well-kept secrets. And I'm working very hard to try to expand it out and get more people to join me in the work of what we're doing. Quick disclaimer, I say this at every presentation that I do. The purpose of this presentation is to help you better understand credit reporting, understand the basics of general information, how you can manage your credit so that you can get the credit that you want and need for different reasons. For legal reasons, I cannot discuss issues specific to your personal credit. So when we get to the Q&A, I can't tell you what to do with that Target card or any of the other type of things. I can only advise you on how to improve on your personal credit by spending habits and certain things as far as that. I can't discuss any disputes regarding personal credits on your behalf. And the information regarding our policies and processes, they can change by different dates. So I may say something now. Washington may make a decision and change something. It could be completely different in a week. I don't know. But now that I'm through that, let's talk about some of the basics. This is the first thing that I talk about. Credit does not equal debt, right? So building positive credit history so that you can be on the best terms and invest, that's great. I own a house, right? So technically that house is debt, right? But that house is appreciating, and owning a home is still the fastest way to grow wealth in North America right now. And so a lot of times people say, oh, I don't want to do anything with credit. I don't have any credit cards. I don't have a car loan. I just pay cash. I just do this. And because they equate it to being something of debt, and it's a very negative, connotation with it, right? A lot of times when I hear people talking or discussing, or even sometimes trying to educate about credit, it's almost as if they talk about the car accident before anyone's taught them how to drive, right? And so credit does not equal debt just off top. It doesn't have to be a negative feature or a negative asset within your life. It's definitely a lot more to that. So there are 3 national credit reporting agencies. Experian is the largest. That's why I made it that much bigger on my profile here. Then there's Equifax, and then there's TransUnion. All are federally regulated. These are the big 3. There are other, scores and different things we'll kind of get into, but these are the 3 that you should know. This is the basic credit cycle. And so everything that we talked about and that you've heard over time period, this is how we interact as a credit bureau in the credit cycle. You sign up for a card, you have a lender, you have somebody that's loaned you something, you pay that lender updates the records, that lender shares the history with the credit reporting agencies, and then the credit reporting companies share with that information with new lenders. So a lot of time people will come up to me and they'll say, oh, Experian denied me this or they denied me that. That's 100% not how it works. We have the file that we then give to whoever the lender, prospective lender is. They have their own underwriting, their own risk tolerance, and their own algorithms. And then they will take the information that we provide them and then make a credit decision based upon that. And so a lot of this presentation, when I get into it, you're going to hear a lot about the credit report. I'm not talking about the scores. There's several different scores. You have control and autonomy over your credit report. So you need to understand what factors go into that and what you need to be staying on top of, okay? So credit reporting companies are like libraries. The credit reporting to the clients, they check out that information only if they have information, only if they have permissible purpose under the law, meaning you've given them permission or there's some type of law that mandates they can pull your credit report, right? It's not free. I own my own credit report. I can't pull my wife's credit report. I can't pull any of your credit reports, even though I work for the company. That's not how that works. When you get these pre-approved offers and stuff in the mail, they're not pre-approved because they haven't seen your actual credit report. What they've done is a scan of your area code based upon the information that's federally out there, meaning the average scores, the average percentage of home ownership, the average income in that area. And so they're pre-qualifying you in that sense, but they can't qualify you because they haven't pulled your report because you haven't given them permission to do so. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act, when we talk about those permissible purposes, if you're opening a line of credit, if there's an offer of credit, employment purposes, but I want to be very specific about this, okay? You do not have to do a credit report or get a credit pull for every job that you apply for. It's going to be very specific. If that organization perhaps has government contracts, if you're going into a very high finance yielding type of position, right? So I worked a lot in talent acquisition. I'm absolutely not hiring a VP of financing without pulling their credit report, right? But you have to have those type of things that are coming in to pull that information. So when we talk about underwriting insurance, transactions initiated by the consumer, valuation for an investment, and then again, eligibility for a government's license. I literally had to pull some people's security clearance. When I was in the Army, I was a human resource officer because their credit was so bad, right? The full justification for that is a whole other thing, but those are the type of things that it can affect when we talk about employment or we talk about licenses as we're moving through it. When we talk about the credit report and their importance, this credit report is your personal credit report. It is the records of your financial accounts and obligations and identifications of information associated with them. The report is sometimes called a credit file or your credit history, but the report is what powers the scores, and it gives all the creditors the information that they need to make timely and effective decisions about your credit worthiness. Again, when we talk about them, they use these and the credit scores to gauge the likelihood that you're going to pay the money back. The reports are also used in other non-lending situations. So it could be apartments, it could be applications, utilities, cell phones, insurance. Your credit report serves as your financial reference for companies with whom you want to do business with. So if I want to borrow money from my friend and when I borrow money and I pay him back, he's now going to be a great reference for me if I want to borrow money from a different friend. When people discuss credit and they talk about not having credit or not wanting to use credit, that's fine until you need credit. It's better to have credit and not use it than to not have credit and then end up in a situation that when you need credit, because your credit report is that reference guide. It's the thing that's going to tell lenders, hey, we can give this person a small business loan. We can give this person this personal loan. We can give this person this credit card or this reward card because they have a strong history of paying back the debt that they do take on from certain creditors and using it as assets to move forward. So all of that is super important. All of this information comes from you. The information that you provide in the application for credit, the housing or insurance is reported to the credit reporting company. We're not pulling that information from different sources. So when we ask you the questions and you're filling out your forms and you're doing all that information comes from you. The things that will then make up the file come from the lenders that you're interacting with. So this is, again, a very holistic view of it, but I'm trying to give you all the information so you understand exactly the process of what the credit is and how it's being formed. So what's in a credit report? Again, we identifying information that you'll provide to us. Account information, meaning what account is open. If I have a Best Buy card, if I have a Kohl's card, a Target card, an American Express, a Southwest Visa, that type of account information is located in there. Any bankruptcy policy records will be included. And then there's inquiries as well as the dispute instructions. I really want to make dispute instructions that much bigger. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but all of the information, if you find an error on your credit report, all of the information and tools that you need to try to dispute that live on your credit report. You do not have to go to one of these credit repair organizations. You do not have to pay monthly fees. You don't have to pay somebody that you saw promoting this or that $500 to try to fix your credit. You can do it yourself. Everything is available to you in your credit report. This is what's not on your credit report. Criminal backgrounds, not on your credit report. Medical information, not on your credit report. The first two bullets, again, not on your credit, but they do sometimes play into credit. There's a high number of people who have a criminal background that perhaps have been incarcerated that do fall victim of identity theft. It's very hard to protect yourself and protect your reporting when you don't have general access to an app or the internet. The stuff that we're passionate about, we're actually working through that. I spent a lot of time with individuals in DC talking about this. Medical information is not reported on there. I had a knee surgery about a year and a half ago. None of that is listed on my credit report. However, with the medical billing, if I have a bill that falls into default that's over $500, that can potentially show up on your credit report. So if it's under $500 and they send you, because sometimes you get random bills, $100 here, and you don't know who it's coming from or something else is going on, and they say you're in collections. Yes, you need to pay it, but you don't need to panic if it's under $500, okay? Buying habits, transaction data. I can't tell you how many times I can personally tell you how many times my wife goes to Jimmy John's and not Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's. I can tell you how many times she goes in a month. I can tell you how much she spends, but it doesn't show up on her credit report, even though I know she's using her Southwest Visa to pay for those sandwiches. Your income, not on your credit report. Bank account information, not on your credit report. And then the last thing that's not on your credit report is your credit scores. And if we were in person, I would challenge you all to tell me why your credit score is not on your credit report. And somebody would raise their hand and I would give them a gift card because they would answer, the credit scores are not on your credit report because the credit scores are powered by the credit report. And there's a multitude of different scores. So you have a FICO 2, which is used for home lending. You have a FICO 8. You have a Vantage score. There's multiple different versions of credit scores based upon what it is that you're applying credit to and what credit you're applying for. So when we talked about initiating disputes, again, we encourage consumers to get the report directly from Experian. There's a toll-free number that gives you access to the customer service, the report numbers that identify you. All of the disputes can be done online, telephone, or by mail. And the disputes have to be very specific. Now, what some of the credit repair companies will do is they'll put together a dispute. If we don't have the information within 30 or 45 days, say you're disputing something on your Best Buy card. If Best Buy doesn't get back to me within 30 days, I have to pull it off your credit report. If on day 52, Best Buy gives me the information and it shows that you actually did default on this, it goes right back on your credit report. So a lot of times, I'm not going to call them scammers. A lot of times, some of the credit repair companies will initiate a bunch of disputes. You'll see a bunch of stuff disappear off of your credit report and your score may go up. You feel great. You think they've done what they're supposed to do. You've paid your $150, your $200. And then about 2-3 months later, everything goes back on your report because we've proven that it is true. So you have to be very careful, very specific about what errors that you may see on your credit report and how you want to dispute those. So I talked about processing the dispute. I've already kind of talked about the 30 or 45-day process. You have to verify, you have to get very specific. There's a lot of different things as you're moving through the process. So I won't overhype that. But again, all of this information lives on your credit file, okay? This information that's on your report, it stays there for a good amount of time. So it's very, very important that you understand this. If you open an account and it's in good standing, it'll live on your report until the end of time. If you close an account in good standing, I used to have an Express fashion card. That's what we wore when I was in school. Don't shop at Express too much anymore. They don't make clothes that fit me anymore. So I closed that account, but it was in good standing. They actually closed the account, but it stayed on my report up until about a year and a half ago. It's finally fell off my report. If you have a 30, 60, 90-day late payment, that's going to sit on your credit report for 7 years. If you have an account that goes into collections, it's going to sit on your report for 7 years. Bankruptcy is not a get out of jail free card. To the risk of my own hairline, I've sat in my barber's chair and had to correct him for how he was speaking about bankruptcy. You can file for bankruptcy. It's going to live on your account for 10 to 7 years, depending on which chapter that you submit for. It's not to say that you can't come back from bankruptcy, but it is the last case scenario that you need to consider. Filing for bankruptcy, you can repair your credit. It's basically going to be like training for a half marathon on a high ankle sprain for the next 5 years. I'm not kidding. It's that serious. Credit inquiries only sit on your account, and these are hard inquiries, right? If you go to AT&T to get a new phone, that's technically a soft inquiry. If you go car shopping, you go to 4 different dealers, 4 different people are going to pull your report. Those inquiries are going to live on your score for 2 years. So be mindful for when you're going and when you're trying to do inquiries. If you're trying to close on a house, it's better to usually get the next car maybe 60 days after you've closed on the house. If you do it 60 days before the house, all those inquiries could potentially lower your score, which could maybe affect your rate when you get to closing. So you always want to be looking at all those different things. We talked about the credit score. We used, instead of a manual score sheet, they used to use that way back in the day. Now this is a variable tool on which we use, our lenders use to produce a score that will help you look at the credit score modeling, the formula, any proprietary information as they're looking to move you forward in the application process. It's not the end all be all, but higher scores traditionally, lower rates, lower introductions, lower down payments. That's what we're doing as we're looking at the credit score. The risk factors are the key to this whole thing. In the score, they're calculating how risky is it to actually loan you. So there's a bunch of bullets here, but I'm just going to make it in this perfect sense as I can. If you have a lower score, it indicates to me that I may need more money up front, or I may not be able to give you as competitive of an interest rate because it is riskier to loan you this capital or to loan you this money. That's essentially what they're saying. The risk factors are the key in this. Understanding your risk factors can provide you with the insight to hopefully put you on a journey to where you're getting closer and closer to the score target that you want. So I've talked about all of this, and then where does it go? And then how do you put this all into play? We are a credit reporting agency. There are a lot of apps that do credit monitoring. We have an Experian Go app in which it is a credit tool. I define credit monitoring and a credit tool very differently. Monitoring means I can look at my score, I can see some of my accounts, and I'm monitoring if one account gets out out of whack or something else is going on. The tools in which we have for Experian Go, I can look at those and I can set a chart to the score that I want. I understand through simulations and other things, decisions that I may make, how that may affect the score. I can go into the app right now and say, hey, if I apply for a new car, what would that potentially do to my score? If I want to go into the home buying journey, I can go into the app and I can say, I want to get to a 780 in 6 months. The app's going to tell me the steps that I need to take to do it. And it's also going to be very honest if I can't do it in 6 months. It may ask me to expand out the time, or it may give me a scenario that just makes sense that will allow me to actually do this. Okay. Experian Boost is a part of this app as well too. When we talk about the scores and what we're doing, FICO 8 is the most common score that you'll see. If you have a credit card with any major bank, I would probably say 70% of them are probably going to be powered by Experian and monitoring this, but they're using your FICO 8 score. We look to add more additional information and historically not available or historically not used information to help show a fuller picture of your credit worthiness. So we've added in positive utility, streaming, telecom, rental, insurance payments that show a consistent payment history that goes towards your lending information. That's some of the information, but it's not all of the information. I have a 4 and a 2-year-old. I pay a good amount of daycare every week. If I go to Nissan, Ford, Mercedes, BMW, Tesla to get a car note that I only have to pay one time a month, the 4 years of on-time daycare payments, which is up $500-$600 a week, that does not go towards my credit worthiness. We as an organization are working to try to introduce more things to showcase people's credit worthiness and paint a full picture so that maybe some of the lenders, whether it be home or auto or small business, they can stop saying no and they can get to saying not yet, and then working together with you to march towards something that makes sense for the collective group and finding those different solutions. So when we talk about information like Go, we talk about Boost, like who can this help? There's more than 28 million credit invisible consumers. And when we talk about credit invisible, that means if you came to me and you said, hey, I want to borrow $16,000 for this car, I will pull your credit file and there's nothing in the file. You just haven't interacted with credit. We call those individuals credit invisible. We talk about the Black and Hispanic consumers and their unscorable credit. There's over 20 million US consumers between 18 to 23. And when I tell you that they are thirsty for this information, they are thirsty for this information. I just got back from the National Society of Black Engineers. We held a couple of different forums where I was able to speak and interact with students. They stopped by the booth. They were asking questions. I did a presentation to about 250, 300 students. Line of students after the presentation wanting to ask specific credit questions, how they can get involved, how it's affecting them, what can they do to power their scores. Again, we talked about Experian Go. We make it super, super easy. I'm going to stop sharing after this because what they're going to put in the chat, and then we're going to email it to you, is I want to give you all access to this credit tool. There's base consumer Experian Go account is free. It is 100% free. There are upgrades in which you can buy. Those upgrades offer sometimes additional scores, meaning you can get your Equifax or TransUnion score. I can give you experience information for free. I can't give you their data and information for free. That's why there's a cost for that subscription. There's also some tools in which you could use. And so I want to make that available to you as well. I have a promo code. We actually just used this as NESB, but I asked them to expand the parameters of the promo code so that I can offer it to you all and that you can share it with your counterparts, your family, and your friends as well. It's going to give you 12 months, not this, like if you're a football fan and you were watching the AFC Championship game, you had to download Peacock. I'm not doing a 30-day subscription. I'm not trying to trap you into anything. I want to showcase to you how easy this is to monitor and take control of your credit. And so I'm going to give you 12 months of Experian Identity Works, which is normally, I think, $9.99 a month. And so we're going to give that to you all as a gift from Experian. But I really want you to use it as a tool and use it as an opportunity to expand your knowledge and your understanding around credit. And so I was doing a time check. I feel like I went through that pretty quick. I'm going to stop sharing because I want to take some questions from you all as well too, as we've been going through this. But team, keep me on track. I'm not sure exactly how much time I have left, but hopefully we have time for, a handful of questions that we can take, and we'll go from there.
We've got you. Questions. All right. Question number one. And Kayla, if you want to bring me down from the stage, that's fine. Just as long as I have my audio, that'd be great. But TJ, any credit education recommendation for minors, high schoolers? What's the best way to have credit conversations with the young folks?
I love this question. Thank you so much for that, Rose. Introducing them to credit early and often is exactly where we start. So talking to them about having a plan, talking to them about spending habits, talking to them about what the debt to income ratio type of stuff looks like as they're heading off to school, warning them and being very transparent with them about some of the predatory things that happen. Like I'm very honest about my credit story. It started on a Tuesday at 7:30. They caught me coming out of the library. They offered me a free Domino's pizza. I had $10 in my pocket and I took the pizza anyway. But luckily I had mentors and people that advised me on what to do with it once I had opened that card. And so when I think about the high schoolers, there's a couple of things you can do. If the high schooler is somebody that belongs in your household, you can make them an authorized user on a credit card that you have. And by making them an authorized user, you can monitor their spending. You can start discussing those habits with them. You can get them in a rhythm and a cadence of understanding exactly how a credit card works. You can talk to them about auto loans if they are getting a car when they turn 16. Walk them through that process. What we're trying to do is stop making this conversation kind of taboo, right? So I love my parents. I'm not going to put them on blast, but we never sat down and talked about the mortgage. I didn't know what PMI was. I didn't understand what escrow was. I didn't know any of this information. As I was growing up, that was just grown folk business. We didn't talk about stuff like that. We need to be talking about stuff like that. Even if it's something, if maybe you don't have a healthy relationship with your credit right now, that's fine. Go on the journey of getting the score and the credit that you want. Take the teenagers, take the young adults, take them with you. Be transparent with them about it. Hey, when I was your age, I didn't monitor this. I didn't think it mattered to me. Now I'm trying to fix it now. But I want you to see and witness how I'm doing it and what's going on so that you don't make these same mistakes. That's how I address it and bring that conversation and that credit to them. Again, it's teaching them how to drive and not talking about and understanding that I think there's more assets out there. And because there's more assets out there, there's also a lot of misinformation out there. And so if you can get in front of it, just like any other conversation, I think you'll be better for it. But thank you for the question.
Awesome. TJ, we have another comment while the next question's coming. Another comment was, I love this for our clients. They need more credit builders. I'm looking forward to new products. Monty shared that, just really excited about what Experian is bringing, what's available. As you know, she's in the credit restoration space and educating and showing business owners how to leverage their credit to grow. And so any tools that can continue to enhance the journey, I know that's exciting. So Monty, the link, the code is in the chat, everyone. That code is in the chat, so just know that. And then the next question I saw up on the screen or in the chat for you is from Rose. Rose is on it and says, does Experian collaborate with international institutions? How does that work?
Yeah, so I can't dive fully into it, but like our headquarters is in the UK. And so we do tons of work globally and internationally as well too. My expertise or focus is basically just in the US market. And so that's something, if you want to send me a message on LinkedIn, roads, if that's something that you're working in, I could definitely try to find a resource for you within the organization. But just candidly, I don't know all of our, it's just very different credit systems when you go country to country and you get international.
Awesome. And TJ's LinkedIn link is in the chat. So just scroll up a bit. It's in the chat. I think from a question standpoint, there's also the promo code is there. We dropped in the link to get directly to our community so that when we wrap up the summit, you have access, Smart CEOs, to the actual Smart CEO engagement kit. The code is here. It's on the screen. Please take full advantage of it. The tool, you saw the options and the opportunities. And not only is the code for you, but it's for you to share with your collaborative partners, your family and friends. We should all be growing together. TJ did a phenomenal job bringing this to us today. I cannot thank you enough for being such a great partner and such a great your commitment to making sure that business owners, individuals, families have the tools they need. We know that your commitment is longstanding, and thank you for being super transparent about your experience journey, right? They weren't number one on the list, but they sure are for impact and access to opportunities. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for saying yes to your experience journey too.
Absolutely. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. Any stage I can get on to talk about credit education and bring this information, I just think is important, right? So I think credit has an opportunity to transform lives. And so I'm honored and privileged to be in this work, but I'm excited for the rest of the summit, and I'm hoping to be there in person when we do this next year, and we'll go from there.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the Smart CEO community, TJ. And certainly thank you so much. We are going to give you back a portion of your day, and we are excited about you being on the 2024 Smart CEO Summit. We are thrilled. And Smart CEOs, oh my gosh, so much more to come. So if you're ready, we're ready. Make sure you grab those links and all that good stuff out of the chat. We're getting ready to really set the stage. Now, what comes next? We've done a lot of deposits around money, finance, putting a plan together. I've been over here writing my plan and strategy down, things I need to do, timelines I need to set. I've got my whiteboard over here. I was adding some steps and tips and things to do to my whiteboard so I can stay in action as it relates to building up my portfolio in a variety of different ways. And I just want to first say thank you to everyone that's been joining us from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, from our private Facebook group, the TKC Smart CEOs, from our Facebook page of Smart CEOs, and then also from my personal pages, Kyra Rennell on Instagram and on Facebook. So thank you to everyone that's been online with us all day, that's been joining in. And to those that will catch us as a replay, take your time because there's a lot of good stuff here and we're not done. And so we are rounding out the day with a phenomenal conversation. I can't wait for you all to meet the phenomenal MM Washington. I was introduced to MM at a WeBank or a WBEA, Women's Business Enterprise Alliance conference. I want to say just about a year ago. We're almost at a year. And when I met her, I was completely fascinated. And then beyond fascination, I was then intrigued. And my intrigue really was sparked by her ability to storytell and to hear the journey that she's been on in the space and understanding how her journey has really carried her as she's taken to the stage in a variety of different ways, specifically around the TED Talk platform and specifically TEDx. So I'm actually going to take a moment. I want to do a quick tech check behind the scenes. I'm watching our backstage. I want to make sure everyone is queued up and ready to go. So I'm actually going to pause for just a moment. We're going to confirm that we're all set. I do want to make sure we're all set before I go into the intro. And we've got everybody in position. So bear with us just a moment. We're going to this technical opportunity, and I'm going to be with you in just a moment. All right, smart CEOs. And as promised, I am excited to introduce you to the MM Washington, none other than MM Washington. I'll tell you this really brief story. Listen, when I met MM, as many folks do, we chatted for a bit, and then we made plans to grab some dinner. And when we did, we were sitting there, we were chatting, and before you know it, I know hours had passed, but here's what really happened. I was asking MM a curious question. I love to hear how people arrive at their place of brilliance. And so I asked a question, and the question that I asked, MM looked at me and said, "That's your TED Talk." And I was like, "No, that's my question." She said, "No, that's your TED Talk." I said, "That's not what I came here for. I came to get to know you and all that." We literally spent probably the next 15, 20, 30 minutes breaking down the elements of my TED Talk in my phone, in my notes. And I want you to know my TED Talk framing has already been done. And it was just, when someone knows their craft, when someone understands the power of what they do, when someone has the authority in their industry, they can hear the opportunities. That's nothing short of what you've heard today. You know, smart CEOs, no matter how you get this information, one thing you'll know for certain about the smart CEO community is that we bring the best to you. And I'm excited to do that. So MM proved her worth to me at dinner. And before I knew it, I was prepackaging my TED Talk, and I am not even scheduled to TED Talk yet, but that's going to change soon. Why? Because MM Washington is here. And MM Washington, JD, LLM, is a leadership consultant, success strategist, and licensed attorney. She is also a two-time TEDx speaker, best-selling Amazon author, and indie recording artist. She is the founder of Lead, Speak, and Impact, a personal and professional development firm providing leadership and communication coaching and consulting to individuals, teams, and organizations worldwide. An unapologetic optimist, her favorite thing includes blue sky days, extra time, excuse me, extra fine. Okay, MM, I can get with you on this. I'm gonna read this again. Her favorite things, blue sky days. Listen, extra fine tip pens. Only if you love pens do you understand how powerful that is. Of any color and anything she can write on. A napkin is also included. She is a mom of two miracle sons. Get to know MM Washington when you visit her at her website. But before then, you're going to get to know her right here. Smart CEOs, let's welcome MM Washington to the stage. Join us, MM.
All right. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Kyra.
We're thrilled to have you. Listen, I won't hold up not one moment of your time. This is your stage, ma'am. Take it away.
Oh, man. For some reason, I am not hearing you. Okay. I heard you until I came in. So let me back out. Can y'all hear me? If you guys can hear me, I can go ahead and start. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's keep it moving. Hi, as Kyra said, my name is MM Washington, and I founded a company known as Lead, Speak, and Impact. And today I want to talk about TED. Let's talk about TED, how to shape the narrative of your industry with a TEDx talk. So let's get right into it. All right. So next slide is, why do you care? Who am I and why should you care? As Kyra said, I'm a two-time TEDx speaker, and I let me back up and say that before I became a 2-time TEDx speaker, I applied for my first TEDx talk. And it was actually, let me even go back a little further than that. Around 2013, somebody sent me a TEDx talk. I never really I'd heard of TED, never heard of TEDx. I watched this talk, my jaw dropped to the floor. And in that moment, I was like, I would love to impact somebody else's life the way this person's talk just impacted mine. And then almost immediately after that, I had another thought. Yeah, but who cares about you? Who knows you? What would you talk about? You're not a neuroscientist. You're not a this, you're not a that. And so I sat on that dream for another 5 years. And then in 2018, I applied to speak, made all the mistakes, didn't get accepted. But in the interim, some things had happened to where I was in a bolder place in my life. Prior to that, I was, I'd gone through, life had lifed. And so I'd gone through some things. But by 2018, I was in a different place. So you know what I did? I applied again. And this time around, I almost didn't apply to what I call my dream stage, which was in London, England. And, I saw this and I'm like, yeah, but, would they welcome me from the US? Anyway, long story short, I applied, I got it. It was a phenomenal experience. So I share that to say that even though today I'm a 2-time TEDx speaker, I wasn't, I didn't get my
I'm going to jump in for a moment because your mic is muted. You click something and we heard you say London, phenomenal, and we need to hear the rest. There we go.
Okay, there we go. I don't know why that happened, but I'm going to keep my hands to myself right here. All right. So I gave my talk in London. It was my dream stage. And I went on to serve as speaker coach for 2 TEDx events. Also, I was on the curation team for 1 TEDx event. And now I get to use my experience and help others who want to make an impact by sharing their ideas on the TEDx stage. All right. So let's get right into it. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about some reasons why you might want to consider becoming a TEDx speaker, and then we'll round out with how the steps that you need to take. So stepping into the spotlight as a TEDx speaker, it can truly be transformative for your journey as a leader, as a smart CEO. I know it's been transformative for myself. And it's more than just sharing your ideas. It is about igniting change. It is about sparking innovation, and it is about inspiring action in others. And it gives you the ability and the opportunity to establish yourself as an expert, to expand your impact, and to raise your visibility, all while changing and shifting the trajectory of your life and your career. All right. And what is TED? So I mentioned earlier that I had heard of TED Talks, and then now somebody sent me a TEDx talk. So we'll talk about what is TED, and then we'll move to what is TEDx. So TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. When you hear TED, that's like the larger conference. It was founded, the first one was in 1984, and it's an annual conference in which thought leaders and experts converge from, and they're in various fields. They converge in this one place to share ideas that are worth spreading. Typically, it's high-profile figures, renowned innovators, leading experts. They are invited to speak. And that event is curated by Big TED, the TED organization itself. Now we're going to move to what is TEDx, all right? What is TEDx? So independently organized events under the TED umbrella. And you get to experience the TED experience, but in a local community, in local communities all around the world. So when you hear TEDx, that X stands for locally curated. All around the world, there's TEDx in different parts of Africa, TEDx in different parts of Asia, and so on and so forth. And these are smaller gatherings, usually up to 100 people in the audience. But there's some, if that TEDx organizer, when they got their license, if they have attended an actual big TED event, then they have permission to expand their audience beyond 100. So, but in the room, usually it's 100 people, and they follow the TED guidelines, and they have the same tagline, which is ideas worth spreading. So note to self, TEDx Talks are about ideas. And they're instrumental. TEDx events are instrumental in uncovering the local gems, right? The community gems, the community ideas and perspectives. And because they are all over the world, there's more opportunities for you and I to share our ideas and get our voices heard. And anyone can apply or be nominated. You don't have to wait to be tapped on the shoulder by the big TED organization, all right? And so with both TED and TEDx, it's all about spreading valuable, innovative ideas and insights. They are both watched by millions of people all around the world. And the talks are all shared on social media, websites, and other platforms. All right. So what are some benefits? And we're going to spend a little bit of time on this. What are some benefits of becoming a TEDx speaker? Maybe somebody has told you, you should give a TED talk or a TEDx talk. When they say TED talk, they typically mean TEDx. You should give a TEDx talk. Or maybe you've thought to yourself, I think I want to do a TEDx talk. What are some benefits? Well, we're going to get into that deeper, but it does offer you a unique and powerful platform, the TED platform. And by virtue of the TED platform, the TEDx platforms are universally recognized. And in fact, when people go searching for answers, there's usually, I tell people there's usually a TEDx talk for that, right? So it gives you that global platform to share your insights, your experiences, your unique perspectives with the audience that you might never, ever have had the opportunity to interact with. TEDx Talk can help you with visibility. It can help establish you as a credible expert, thought leader, an authority in your niche, in your industry. And let's not forget about the fact that a TEDx Talk can help increase profitability in different ways. And we'll see some of that on the next few slides. So why TEDx? You can grow your business, influence your industry. I'm going to call out some of these. You can get more media opportunities, become a source of inspiration, a catalyst for change, and a leader in your space, make more profit, personal and professional growth, and the list goes on. So we're going to talk about a few of these in a little bit more detail. So a TEDx talk can allow you, and it does allow you, to amplify your voice on critical issues. So it provides, like I said, that global platform to raise awareness about critical issues in your industry, things that matter to you, a way for you to challenge the status quo. If there's some things that are annoying to you or some things that you would like to see changed, you can use a TEDx talk and that global platform to challenge the status quo. Number two, connecting with a global audience, right? So TEDx events attract thinkers. They attract innovators and leaders from all various fields. Speaking at such forums on such a stage will open the door to networking opportunities, potential collaborations, and partnerships that can elevate your business, your brand to new heights. Let's look at 3 and 4. So professional development and recognition. Delivering a TEDx talk can enhance your profile. And we talked earlier about credibility and visibility. It serves as a mark of recognition within and outside your field, right? And so again, that can open up opportunities for collaborations and thought leadership roles. And number 4, if your TEDx talk is about some research that you're doing, or if you're engaging in some sort of research, or you've collected some data of some sort as part of the work that you do, you can use the TEDx platform to share your research findings and actionable insights that come from those findings, and that can lend itself to increased public understanding and maybe even policy changes, right? And again, that could lead to changes in your industry and in your niche. All right, we've got 5 and 6 coming up. So we talked about professional growth. Let's talk about personal growth. There's a process in becoming a TEDx speaker, and it is a rigorous process, right? So it's not for the faint of heart. And perhaps you've been speaking already. It's a different type of talk and a different type of preparation. The process helps you to refine your public speaking skills, clarify your ideas. That's key, right? Because I said earlier that TEDx talks and TED Talks are about ideas. They're not about a story, how I overcame. They're not about a story of, overcoming cancer or childhood obesity or things like that. Can you incorporate your story into your idea, your TEDx talk? Absolutely, and you should, but you don't lead with your story, right? So that process of clarifying, okay, I wanted to share this story for good, but how do I distill that into an idea, and not just any idea, but an idea that TEDx deems worth spreading, right? So there's a process, and you grow so much. I've grown so much as a result of my TEDx talks. Number 6, building a supportive community. Yeah, so the TEDx community, even though it might seem like everywhere you look, there's a TEDx talk, it's still a small community. And everyone that I've come in contact with, they're passionate individuals in their own fields. And it's just an opportunity to connect and network with brilliant minds. And probably that word collaboration has come up. This is the 3rd time. I've had some collaborations, several, as a result of being a part of this community of TEDx speakers. 7 and 8. Okay, so inspirational leadership. I won't talk too much about that, but if you're a leader, for me as a Black woman leader, wherever you fall on the leadership spectrum, you have the opportunity to share your message and inspire others who aspire to be like you or to become leaders. Empowering your community. You're able to use your TEDx talk to empower your community and make a significant impact, whether that's through scholarships or raising awareness, investing in other businesses. This allows you that visibility. And then we'll round out with number 9 and number 10. So establishing yourself as an expert, I won't belabor that, and generating additional income. Number 10, speaking at a TEDx event. This comes up a lot. It's not a paid opportunity. But it can open up new avenues for income. You can leverage the opportunity to attract more clients, to secure book deals. I've seen all of that, to be invited to high profile events and conferences as a speaker, and then even have an increased, if speaking is something you want to do more, increase your speaker fees, right? So, and that can also, all of that could lead to creation of courses from your talk, consulting opportunities, and workshops. All right, so that's just a high level look at 10 benefits. So I like to say that when you want to give a TEDx talk, what could you talk about? Your experience, your expertise, both of those or either one of those could form the framework of your TEDx talk. So I say this because I have come into contact with, in my coaching clients for TEDx, some clients come and say, I would love to give a TEDx talk. I just don't know what I would talk about, but I feel called to give a talk. And there's no judgment, because at one point that was me as well. And so we can refine, we can distill and get to what you could talk about. So that's one bucket where you don't know what you would talk about. Bucket number 2 is where you might fall in this. If you know that you want to give a TEDx talk, you know what you would want to talk about, but you're not quite sure how to frame it such that it stands out from all the other applications, all the other talks on this broader topic. There's room for you at the TEDx table. And then bucket number 3 is the one, and again, I was in this bucket too at one point, where I want to give a TEDx talk, but I could talk about this and I could talk about that and I could talk, so many different things. How do I choose? There's room for you at the TEDx table. But one of the things I would like to say is take a look at your experience. And that could be work experience, educational experience, life experience, and then take a look at your expertise. What is it that you're good at? Maybe it has to do with a degree, or maybe not. Maybe it has to do with some things that you've done at work, or some things that people keep coming to you for. Those two, your experience or your expertise, could lead to your TEDx talk. All right. Okay, steps to becoming a TEDx speaker. Okay, so it requires passion, and that's going to come through even as early as the application. I say this now having the benefit of having reviewed several applications. Your passion comes through. Expertise and communication skills, all of that comes through as early as the application. So what are the steps? First, decide on what you would want to talk about, your idea worth spreading. And so there's some ideation that goes into that, and there's some things that you can think about. But the bigger picture, as I shared in the previous slide, is take a look at your experience, take a look at your expertise. Is there some overlap? Is there something that stands out as to what you would, a broad topic? Now, when you have the broad topic, for instance, resilience. My first talk was it was titled Life Lessons That My Iron Taught Me About Overcoming Adversity. So my first talk was about overcoming adversity. My second talk was titled A Different Way to Talk About or Think About Resilience, right? So we're in that overcoming adversity and resilience space. I don't have to tell you that there are thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, who knows, of talks on overcoming adversity, on resilience. So that's a broad topic, but how do you narrow that down to an idea, a perspective that's different? How do you add to the conversation that's already out there? All right, so that's step number 1. Number 2, now that you have your idea, start looking for TEDx events that have a theme that aligns with your topic, right? And so I shared here where you can find the TEDx events. But what do I mean by theme? So many TEDx events have a theme every year. That theme changes from year to year. But typically the theme is broad enough so that you can find a way to fit your talk under that theme. So if the theme is emerge, and let's say you want to talk about, like, what could you talk about? or I could just use my first talk, life lessons that my iron taught me about overcoming adversity. How could you fit that into under that broad theme of emerge? And the reason they leave the theme broad is because they want diversity of ideas and thoughts. And really, one person's talk could be about math, another person's could be about flowers, another person's could be about shoes or neuroscience, and still fit under the theme emerge. All right. Once you found an event or several events, submit your application, your speaker proposal, outline your idea. Why is it worth sharing? So I'll tell you that the applications differ. There's no one, you don't send it to like a central application place and then they spread it out. Each event has their own application. But one of the things that they will always ask in some form is, what is your idea? And why is it worth sharing? Why should we care? And then if your proposal is accepted, then you'll work with the event organizers to get you prepared. Sometimes they'll have a coach. Sometimes they won't, but you can have your own coach to prepare your talk. This is a talk of a lifetime. This is a talk that, if done right, will land on the TEDx, the TED YouTube channel, and possibly even the Big TED website, right? So you want, and they give you enough time to prepare for this talk. All right. So now I'd love to look at a few examples. I have several on here, but we're just gonna go through these rapidly. And for these examples, I took I went looking for talks on mental health, right? We're in the mental health month awareness coming, and so I said, well, let me do a search for mental health talks. And I think that's even what I typed in, talks on mental health or something like that. And so you can see that this is just a smidgen of the possibilities. We have how to make stress your friend. We've got every kid needs a champion. Lessons from losing my mind. The secret of becoming mentally strong. How to manage your mental health. Okay, so if you were in the mental health space and you thought, well, mental health is played out, people are talking about it too much. These people found different ways to talk, different aspects of mental health to touch on. And we can look at the next slide as well. I threw mine in there, a better way to talk about resilience. Now, this next slide, what they don't tell you about mental illness, invest in mental health every day. Is social media hurting your mental health? Lessons from the mental hospital, and so on and so forth. So these are just put here as examples of how, even when you think about the broad topic and how saturated it might seem, there's still room for your specific idea. And now I'd love to look at a few examples from some of my past clients. And so we have Anu, she's in India. Her talk was on domestic violence and how she shared her story of overcoming that, but she wrapped it up in an idea that she borrowed from accounting, right? Domestic violence, how 5 simple words brought me back to life. And we have Crux, who talked about active listening in times of hostility. We have Dr. Mo, who is a dentist, and she talked about what dentistry teaches us about curbing racism. And it's a phenomenal talk. She's got, last I checked, it was like over 200,000 views, maybe more. Let's see, Ebtahal, she is in Pittsburgh, and in working with her, I got to learn that Pittsburgh has so many bridges, right? And so she talked about how she uses her art to build bridges, and so on and so forth. So I won't read all of them, but you can see there that you can talk about anything as long as you frame it as an idea on the TEDx stage. All right, we're coming to a close. We can skip this and the next slide. for the sake of time. All right. So as a leader, becoming a TEDx speaker gives you the opportunity of having a prestigious and impactful avenue or platform to share your knowledge, to inspire others, to contribute to the global conversation in your industry or about the things that matter to you. It is a unique chance to share your passion while changing the trajectory of your life, your career, and your community, right? So my question for you is, what can you share on the TEDx stage, right? And last question on the next slide, are you ready to impact the world with your TEDx talk? All right, and I wanted to honor the time that I was given, and so I wrap it up with saying this. Let's stay in touch. You can reach me on all platforms at Washington and on LinkedIn, especially Instagram as well. All right, thank you so much for your time, and I really do hope to hear some of your ideas shared with the world on the TEDx stage. Thank you.
Thank you for really giving us the insight. And I think for all of us, it should be hopefully thought-provoking and piquing us. I saw Letitia Blue said, hey, what is the website? Where did she get those? What's the source for that information, for those TEDx ideas? So definitely, did you pull those directly from TEDx.com?
The examples that I was giving, yes. I actually went to YouTube. So whenever someone tells me, oh, I want to do a talk about XYZ, I will go to YouTube and type in TED Talk and whatever the topic is. So let's say resilience, TED Talk resilience. And then it'll just give me a list of whatever is out there on that topic. And so I just went and pulled from there. The TED website is, I see your question, Letitia, TED.com/TEDx events. I believe that's what it is. Sometimes they change it and they shift it, but just look for where it says attend TEDx events when you get to the TED.com website, and then it'll take you to the TEDx page. And then from there, you can do a search for TEDx events in your region. You can search by region, you can search by date as well.
So, I know that you have some programs and you train and coach and get folks TEDx ready or TED ready. What does that look like? And can you share with those that are listening, those that are viewing this, and where and how they connect with you and what that could look like? I'm going to pop down off stage because I do want you to share with them your services, how you provide your services, and what that could look like for them. So if you don't mind, if you could share that.
Thank you. So 2 ways that I'm currently working with clients. I have a program it's a three-month program, but I also have a 2-day intensive. And the reason is I have some people who they don't have all the time. They don't have the bandwidth to do an extended program. So I created a 2-day intensive, and we really drill down and get a lot of what we would normally take probably 4 or 5 sessions. We get that done in those 2 days. So the program is, I work with you. We work together from ideation. I believe there's 5 phases of the TEDx journey. Ideation, there's the application phase, and then there's the preparation phase where now while you're applying, it's time to start writing the talk and rehearsing the talk. The 4th phase is the presentation phase. And then the 5th phase is, okay, so now that your talk is, once you're done with your talk, how do you leverage that for all these opportunities and benefits that I shared with you, right? And so we cover all of that in my program. And if you would like more information on it, please feel free to send me an email, DM me, reach out to me, and we can get on a call. I can also put my Calendly link for Let's Talk TEDx would be the link, and then we can get on a call. But I usually, what I don't want people to do is to hold off on their dream. If it's something that you want to do, don't think that, oh, I've got to wait until I know what I want to talk about. Don't do that, because that's part of what I enjoy doing is finding that nugget. What is it that you could talk about? And then sometimes you might have more than one. Well, you can do more than one TEDx talk, but which one do you want to start with? So I will share the link here, and then for my calendar. But
yeah, we'll take care of that for you,
Thank you. And so I'm done. I don't know.
We'll make sure it's in the engagement.
Perfect.
Yeah. We'll make sure of it. So make sure that you click it. We dropped the other links that you've led them to for sure in the chat. But I wanted them to understand that they can take, and you said it, don't delay. Take the action.
Yes, absolutely.
Take the action. So we will make sure they get it in that. Yes, in that engagement kit. Smart CEOs, I want you to join me in thanking Washington for a phenomenal conversation that we've just had around expanding our visibility. Our capabilities can be completely seen, and beautiful ideas that we want to share across the platform. Let's Talk TED. She did a phenomenal job of sharing with us how taking the mystery out of the process is the goal. Like, how do we make it more palatable and tangible for our community, so we can take steps and we can do the things that we've dreamt of doing. I don't know about you, but I told that a TEDx talk has been on my vision board. It is officially on my active board. So I have like the vision, which is aspirational. Then I have what's in action. It's on the board. I've started framing up, and I've also gone to a workshop. And so I'm sure I'll be coming your way so you can get me where I need to be so I can be ready to submit a winning application. But it's a journey, right? There's so much that we have to share. We're all so brilliant. And I think there's an opportunity for us to get real curious about doing what we truly desire, which is to make sure that our messages are heard, our brilliance is shared. It's not yours anyway, from the words of Jill Scott. Your creativity is not yours to keep. It came, and it's your job now to make sure that it goes out into the world, and that the world can actually experience every single thing you have to offer. The goal is to leave empty, smart CEOs, and that's what we're going to do. All right, smart CEOs, this has been a phenomenal day of learning and growing together. Special shout out to every single person that has graced the Smart CEO Summit stage, and a huge shout out to production behind the scenes. The chief of staff of the Kyra company, Kayla Johnson, has been making sure from a technology standpoint that we stayed on par and on time. And not only did we do that, but we did that with very minimal technology challenges. So for all of the intents and purposes, this is the 2024 virtual summit, and we did it 100% virtual. And this was a challenge on our end as well. So we took the dive, we took the challenge, we took the plunge, and we did it. And not only did we do it, but this content will live on the platforms for months and months and months to come. And we can't wait to see you in our community. So links in the chat to join the Smart CEO community. We certainly invite you to do that. Thank you so much for every comment. I'm seeing them, every wave, at least every celebration that you've had with us, for hanging out all day, having lunch with us, and doing your thing here in the Smart CEO community. This is where we do the work, guys. It's not always pretty, but it has to get done. And so when Smart CEOs come together, this is where the elite meet. And the elite meet here to get the work done, to build community, and to collaborate. Join the Smart CEO community. Assets and access, if I could just say that. There's so much. Not to mention our private opportunities to connect with our community in different ways in the city, whether we're in Houston or in our other markets. This is a national platform. So watch the links and make sure that you're checking the city to make sure that the Smart CEO event that's live is in your city. And if you are interested in becoming or joining us, I should say, for our upcoming events. The link will get you there. We'll keep you completely connected to what's going on. You will also get the Smart CEO and the Kyra Company newsletter with all of the latest of what's happening in our world. We invite you to get active, stay active, and come and continue to learn and grow with us. I am Kyra Rennell, and until next time, thank you to all of our speakers, caregiver coach Pat Bailey, Monty Hawkins, Jennifer Counter, Brandon Morris. Thank you for chatting with me at the top of the day. I can't thank you enough for being such a resource to our community. And TJ Mercer, our friends at Experian, thank you. And MM Washington for bringing us home, talking about TED. We talked about all things credit, all things collaboration, and now it's all about your visibility. Take these tools, go do something great with them. We'll talk to you next time. I am Kyra Rennell Hardwick, and you are watching and have been with us at the Smart CEO Summit 2024. Have an amazing day, everyone.